NBA Showtime. The 1998 NBA Playoffs. Here's your host, Hannah Storm.
Our busy weekend of playoff basketball starts in Seattle with Game 5 of the Sonics and Minnesota Timberwolves. The winner faces the Lakers in the Western Conference semifinals beginning Monday. Minnesota has two of the league's best young players in 21-year-olds Stephon Marbury and all-star Kevin Garnett. Last year, the T-Wolves were swept out of the playoffs. This year, they're a game away from winning their first-ever series. Seattle will also rely on its young all-star, Vin Baker, playing in his first postseason. He'll team up with another all-star, point guard Gary Payton, who's averaging over 25 points per game in this series. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm along with John Sally and Peter Vesey. And what a weekend we have for you. 3 Game 5s. And John Sally was in this exact same scenario 10 years ago, a 2-7 matchup in the Eastern Conference, the Pistons and the Bullets. And you had to win that Game 5 at home. What was it like?
Just think, you just have to win your home game, but you don't sleep well, you don't eat well, you don't get to go to the movies, none of the stuff that you take for granted. Just have to concentrate on this game. The
pressure must be unbelievable. And Peter, what's on the line today besides the actual game itself?
Well, let's face it, nobody has more at stake today than George Karl. I mean, he's one series loss away from ending his Sonic coaching career. It's as simple as that.
This is the final year of his contract with Seattle, so that just adding to the drama of today's matchup as our weekend starts with Game 5 of Minnesota and Seattle. The Timberwolves have not had great success in Seattle, just 3-17 there all time. But they have won 2 of their last 4 visits to Key Arena, including Game 2 of this series. Each team has won a game on the other team's home court. Seattle has had a well-documented record of first-round difficulties, including an historic loss to Denver 4 years ago, one of the biggest playoff upsets in history. With a preview of Game 5, we go to Bob Costas, Doug Collins, and Isaiah Thomas.
Hannah, 4 years ago when the Sonics lost that series to the 8th-seeded Nuggets, they dropped the 5th game at home here in Seattle. So by no means can they feel assured of a victory that would send them on against the Lakers. What has to happen today if Seattle's to avoid the upset?
Well, Bob, Game 4 scenario was the Sonic backcourt came up huge. Hersey Hawkins and Gary Payton, 48 points, combined for 24 points each, and were terrific defensively. In the 2 wins, you could see Hersey Hawkins, 18 points a game, Gary Payton, 21.5. In the losses, you see that Hersey Hawkins has sort of become the forgotten man. So today they have to have great balance, and the defense in the backcourt triggers them, and if they will do that, they will move to the next round.
Now, without the injured Tom Gugliotta, the young stars, Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett, have already put on a fine performance for Minnesota, taking them to this 5th game. They're confident young players. They think they know what this is about, but seldom do young players truly understand what it means to play in an elimination game until they've been here.
Well, Bob, in Game 4, Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury couldn't really control their emotions. They came out with so much energy and so much emotion. Garnett has a little easy hook shot in the middle. He shoots it a little long. Marbury, on the other hand, has a little baseline runner shot that he normally makes, shoots an air ball. Now, when you're coming out in a Game 5, there's so much energy and emotion flowing through your body. I remember my first Game 5 against the New York Knicks, and it was so emotional for me. Sometimes I was crying in a huddle. Can they contain and can they control their emotions today? Stephon Marbury and Kevin Garnett, that would be the answer.
Well, you wiped the tears away as it happened and had a big game. How often has it happened that the 7th seed has beaten the 2? 3 times in NBA history. In fact, the Sonics narrowly avoided it last year. They were down 2-1 to the 7th-seeded Phoenix Suns, had to beat Phoenix on the road in overtime in Game 4 before coming back here to win the 5th and deciding game. Minnesota, by the way, is without reserve guard Michael Williams today. He left the bench during a minor altercation between his teammate Tom Hammonds and Detlef Schrempf for the Sonics, suspended for 1 game. Back to Hannah in New York.
Thanks, Bob. Well, that shortens an already thin Minnesota bench. Flip Saunders has only been playing 7 players, and Williams, who had been a big spark for them off the bench, was one of those 7. A series of key adjustments, first by Saunders, who goes with a small lineup and gives Seattle fits, and then George Karl with a big adjustment in Game 4, Peter.
Well, he switched defensive assignments in the backcourt. That was crucial because he put Hawkins onto Marbury. Hawkins is a much better player at guarding a guy man-to-man on the ball. And not only that, he studies the game. He studies the tendencies. So he was ready for Marbury and it got him involved in the offense by being more involved in the defense. On the other side, Payton is much more physical, so he was able to match up better with Anthony Peeler.
What about an interesting matchup of the big men, Garnett and Baker, the two young All-Stars?
Finn Baker has to be the biggest man in the middle today. He usually was going in there adjusting his shot. He wasn't getting the ball from Gary Payton. He has to ask and demand the ball and just stop being so finesse and just take it to Garnett, because, you know, he's a shot blocker, but he has to go strong right at him.
Accentuate that. Payton's got to get him the ball.
Yeah, he has to.
And you know what else? He has to start hitting his free throws. He's not even hitting 40% from the line, only 1 from 8 for his free throws in the last game. Now, like Seattle, Utah also fell behind 2-1 in its opening round series to Houston. Last night, the Rockets had a chance to close out the defending Western Conference champs. Utah head coach Jerry Sloan frustrated early as the Jazz managed just 10 points in the first quarter. Charles Barkley came off the bench for Houston to score 8 points in 9 minutes. That basket putting Houston up by 12, their biggest lead of the game, but it was costly for the Rockets. Barkley left the game after injuring his triceps muscle and could not contribute further. He may miss Game 5 tomorrow. In the third quarter, the Rockets looking to pull away. Clyde Drexler, a driving layup to put Houston up by 10. Drexler finished with 11 points. Then Brian Russell took over for the Jazz, scoring 7 points during an 8-0 run by Utah. That pulled them within 2. They outscored the Rockets 57-29 in the second half, the lowest scoring half in Rockets playoff history. Karl Malone added a game-high 29 for the Jazz. They went on to win it 93-71.
We didn't have any energy, and all of a sudden Brian goes in the game, Shannon Anderson goes in the game, and they take us to another level energy-wise. And if young guys can't do that, then you know, our older guys are not going to be able to play like that for 40 minutes.
The muscle's just traumatized and it doesn't want to work, and there's really nothing I can do about that. And the doctor said it would take a miracle for me to be ready by Saturday, so Sunday.
And in fact, we just have late word from the Rockets. Barkley, in fact, tore his right triceps muscle. He will miss the remainder of the playoffs. Game 5 of Utah and Houston from Salt Lake City is the middle game of tomorrow's triple header, and it tips off at 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll be right back.
Still to come, we'll check in on the Heat and the Knicks in the aftermath of Thursday's fight, which has left both teams shorthanded for Game 5. And we'll hear from 2 of the brightest young stars in the NBA, Minnesota's Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury, when NBA Showtime continues. Hosting it.
Go courtside for every playoff game with NBA.com's Courtside Live. It's your high-tech ticket for real-time shot charts, live play-by-play, and complete in-game stats for all the action. NBA.com, your ultimate online resource for the NBA playoffs. Game 4 between the Hornets and Hawks last night in Atlanta. Rod Thorne handed out the NBA's Most Improved Player Award to the Hawks' Alan Henderson. And Atlanta looked good early on. Mookie Blaylock missing the 3, but Christian Laettner there for the putback and put Atlanta up by 6 at the end of the first. In the second quarter, Blaylock drives the lane and hits the finger roll over Vlade Divac, the Hawks by 10. Late in the third quarter, game tied at 64, Anthony Mason puts the Hornets up by 2 heading into the fourth. And then Mason took over. 13 fourth quarter points on the way to a career playoff high of 29 points. The Hornets win it 91-82, taking the series in 4. Dan Hicks was in Atlanta last night.
Hannah, the feeling here in Atlanta was that this series was destined for a Game 5 in Charlotte, especially after the Hornets got blown out by 32 points in Game 3 in a dismal shooting performance. And they looked to be on the same track in Game 4 after shooting just 36% after the first quarter. What happened after that? They heated up. In fact, shot a blistering 69% to cap it off in the fourth quarter. The big factor in Charlotte's second half pull-away, Anthony Mason, who scored 21 of his game-high 29 in the final half. The Hawks just had no answer for his hard-driving tactics.
I'm a captain, and you know, you want to lead by example. You know, you don't just want to be the type of captain sit there and run your mouth and don't, you know, walk the walk, talk the talk. And I think I have a lot of ability to do a lot of different things. And at night, some nights I don't get it done because I don't play aggressive. Tonight I was very aggressive, and I was determined to make it happen.
Anthony Mason is definitely one of the best power forwards in the league. With his ball handling skills, there's like no other. And he really opened up the game for us down the stretch there.
The Charlotte Hornets feel like they have been somewhat of the forgotten team in the first round of these playoffs, but that's all about to change because the Hornets, who advanced to round 2 of the playoffs for just the second time in their 10-year franchise history, now enter the national limelight of the Bull Zone as Chicago takes aim at a 6th title in 8 years. Game 1 on Sunday at the United Center. Hannah, back to you in New York.
Thanks, Dan. Indeed, the Hornets begin the Eastern Conference semifinals tomorrow against the Bulls. Tip-off in Chicago is 5:30 Eastern, and that is the 3rd game of our triple-header. The only first-round series in the East to go the full 5 games is New York and Miami. And for the 2nd straight year, the decisive game between the Knicks and Heat will be played with key players missing the game because of suspensions.
Separated. Jeff Van Gundy is on the bottom of the pile, trying to drag his players away. This could have huge ramifications for Game 5 on Sunday.
I made a big mistake. I let my teammate down from that standpoint, but I'm disappointed about what happened. And I never want to get into a situation like that, especially, for the, because it'll affect the team, but, man, like I said, you got to draw the line somewhere. Hey, my man was tested.
I should have known better. I should have gathered my composure, but I'm a street guy, and I wouldn't say a street guy. I was born and raised just like many of my other cats on this squad, and I just don't, it don't set well with me, swinging on me like that. It was kind of spontaneous, but I had time to. That's no cop out for me. I had time to gather myself and do the right thing, which was bag off.
1.4 seconds to go. I can't believe both guys would do that. What Zoe and Larry did, I think it goes back further than just here. I think there's a lot of depth to that relationship that's not good, from what I understand.
I was just trying to hopefully have both teams avoid embarrassment again. And unfortunately, it detracted from a game that was already decided in our favor. And it detracts from a series. And I think the NBA obviously has to be very embarrassed by it, as both teams should be.
Both Larry Johnson and Alonzo Mourning were suspended 2 games for their fight, and Chris Mills, a New York Knicks reserve, suspended for Game 5 for leaving the bench during the altercation. Everyone agrees a selfish and stupid act by these 2 players. And these 2 teams, John, really a descendant of the team that you played for, the Bad Boys, the Detroit Pistons, meanest, toughest team of their era, and yet you knew where to draw the line.
We definitely did. We understand. We played hard. We did foul hard, but we never threw a punch. Bill Lambert consciously knew these guys run faster than I do, they jump higher than I do, but he was mentally stronger than everybody else, and these 2 guys need to be mentally strong. He knew, if I get you to that point where you think about anything else but playing basketball, we won the game.
Which one of these 2 teams does it hurt the most for Game 5?
Well, clearly the Knicks made out here because they're not used to getting anything from Larry Johnson or Chris Mills on a regular basis, whereas Miami absolutely will miss Alonzo Mourning at both ends of the court. Defensively, he's the size and the muscle to match up against Charles Oakley, Buck Williams, Terry Cummings, and Chris Dudley. He's also a shot blocker. And at the offensive end, even if he doesn't score, he creates the openings for the three-point shooters or for Tim Hardaway. When they double-team Alonzo, these guys are open. Now the Knicks can play these guys straight up.
And maybe the team that benefits the most, the Indiana Pacers, because either Larry Johnson or Alonzo Mourning will miss Game 1 of that series. NBA Showtime continues in just a moment.
Coming up, they're 2 of the best young talents in the NBA. Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their visit with Bob Costas next.
Still a few weeks shy of his 22nd birthday, and Kevin Garnett has already played in 2 All-Star games and helped lead Minnesota to the playoffs 2 straight years. Together with second-year guard Stephon Marbury, the T-Wolves have a dynamic young duo, making them one of the rising teams in the NBA. The 2 Minnesota stars have been close friends for a while now. When both were high school stars, Marbury, who grew up in Brooklyn, phoned Garnett, who was living in South Carolina. They struck up a friendship years before they ever met face-to-face. Now, of course, they see each other all the time. Yesterday, the duo spoke with Bob Costas.
This is a big stage and a new stage for you guys. Second time in the playoffs, but first time where you can really win the series. You're in Game 5. Win, move on. Lose, go home.
We had a little taste of that last year when we played Houston last year.
Three and out.
I don't agree. I don't agree.
I'm just saying, it was seen throughout the whole world.
I don't agree, though.
My boys told me that they saw it on NBC.
It, but it's a big difference.
Oh, it's a real big difference because it's Game 5.
Yeah, this is serious. This is
Game 1 serious last year?
Nah, we ain't making no series. We won 3 and out.
This is the real right here.
This 3 and out. We in the game now.
The biggest win in the history of the Minnesota Timberwolves has happened here tonight in Seattle.
How much fun is this?
It's great. It's great being right here talking to you about it.
It's what you dream about right here. We didn't expect no one to give us a chance. And we know what we're capable of doing, and we know we're capable of winning this game.
What are you going to do?
How much did it bother you not to make the All-Star team?
Let me answer this one, yo.
All right.
Oh, my goodness. He was really upset because it was New York, his home.
That was the only reason, really, why.
Because you wanted to play in the All-Star game at Madison Square Garden, a kid from Brooklyn.
For sure. For sure, but
right after
if
that,
I'd have played in the All-Star game, it would have stole all the hype from Kobe. The way I see it, I'm calling like I see it. It would have stole all the hype from Kobe, and it wouldn't have been able to been talk about Kobe this, Kobe that, and then you would have had to talk about the kid from New York. Everything would have been dwelled on me. In my situation, I felt like I was doing everything from the offensive end, defensive end, and winning. But all it did was make me stronger as a player and as a person.
Dominating every phase of this game.
The buzzword or buzz term now around the league is Garnett money. A lot of young players saying, well, I either want Garnett money or I must be half as good as him, so I want half of the Garnett money. Does that make you feel peculiar?
I want to get into that.
Get into it.
I don't understand why all these, how you say, these cats. I don't know why they all think that they are as good as Kevin. Because they score a lot of points, they don't know the other things that Kevin brings to the table as far as guarding guys like Michael Jordan and then going out getting 4 or 5 blocks, 12 rebounds, and 19 points. They try to act like they're as good as him, but in all actual reality, deep down inside, they know they're not as good.
But I don't flaunt it. I don't say nothing to trigger someone. The reason why we win is because everybody understands their role.
This is what youth does for you. Pour it on, baby. Pour it on. They are loving it here in Minneapolis.
We're doing so much stuff that this franchise has never done that, I don't know, what you want to call it. Making, what we
balling.
say? We balling, yeah.
We balling.
Getting our game on.
We balling.
In my lifetime, we balling has meant about 10 different things. What does it mean now?
Right now, I mean, we getting our game on, we coming out, and we gaining respect from people that never thought that we were gonna accomplish the things that we're accomplishing right now.
We got game.
Those two are like a comedy team. And in addition to sharing the same sense of humor, we should also point out they do share the same agent, Eric Fleischer. And this summer, Minnesota is expected to begin discussions on a contract extension for Stephon Marbury. They are so likable, John, and they're so talented. They bode well for the future of the league.
They do. When you talk about the new NBA, we always hear these guys don't respect the league. These two guys are different. I remember when Dennis Rodman and I first came in the league, we were just playing. We were just having fun. But these guys do it both. They have fun. They understand how urgent this win is.
Hey, Garnett, police, fun police? Right. Captain of the fun police? I mean, Glenn Taylor's the billionaire owner of the Timberwolves, and if he needs a little extra coin to keep these two kids together, I would gladly chip in, because they are fun listening to and absolutely fun watching. But at the same time, they're so lucky to have veterans like Terry Porter and Sam Mitchell. These guys are leaders worth listening to, and not only that, they're still contributing, especially in this series. You know, when the young guys lose control of the car, there we've got Mitchell and Porter who grabbed the wheel.
Boy, Mitchell has really done an admirable job filling in for the injured Tom Gugliotta. Coming up next, it's Minnesota against Seattle. Over the last 3 years, the Sonics are 8-2 in elimination games, 5-0 at home. The winner gets the Lakers in the Western Conference semifinals. We'll see you at halftime. The NBA playoffs on NBC continue after these messages from your local station.
What is it about the first round and the Sonics? 4 of the last 5 years, they were either eliminated or pushed to the brink. This year, the Sonics are once again reminded of the perils of the first round, and once again, they're staring down the barrel of another Game 5. This year's obstacle is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Some say they're too young, too inexperienced. But with each playoff game, Minnesota gains confidence. And for Seattle, that is a frightening thought. Today, the Timberwolves venture into uncharted territory. It's the biggest game in their history. Seattle, of course, has been here before, maybe too often. Game 5 next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1998 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Seattle Sonics.
Minutes ago in the locker rooms at Key Arena, the quiet, the calm, before these players, the veteran Sonics and the young Timberwolves head out into the cauldron of a first-round Game 5 to the energy and the noise of one of the most boisterous arenas in the NBA, Key Arena in Seattle, site of today's Game 5. If you can't get psyched up for this, you can't get psyched up for anything. With Doug Collins and Isaiah Thomas, we welcome you to Seattle. The keys here at Key Arena are obvious. 2 players for each team. For the Sonics, it's Payton and it's Baker. One has been here before. For the other, it's a new experience.
Bob, Gary Payton has been absolutely sensational in this first round. His numbers are superstar numbers. We expect that from him. He's the heart and soul of this team. He's the unquestioned leader. But Ben Baker, after a terrific Game 1 where he had 25 points on 19 shot attempts, Minnesota went to a small lineup. They start double teaming him, and you see what's happened. His numbers have come down. His shot attempts have come down. Let's think about the big picture, not only Game 5 today, but if the Sonics are going to go deep into this playoff, he's going to have to be more aggressive out of the double teams. He's going to have to be a 20 and 10 man. 20 points, 10 rebounds for the Sonics to get to where they want to be when this is over this summer.
25 and 12 for Baker in Game 1 of this series. Relatively quiet since. Now, Minnesota's answer to that pair is, of course, Marbury and Garnett.
Well, Bob, Garnett has been very solid and steady throughout the playoffs. He's averaging 18 points and 11 rebounds. He's given Minnesota everything that they ask of him. But the key to the game today is Stephon Marbury. In the 2 wins, he averaged 19 points and 9 assists. In the 2 losses, he averaged 8 points and 5 assists. Now, I talked to Stephon yesterday. He told me he'll do a better job of controlling his emotions. He wants to penetrate and get into the lane and create shots for others, but he also wants to look for his shot. Bob?
Seattle, the number 2 seed, didn't want to have to play a Game 5 against the number 7 seed, the Timberwolves. But since they have to play it, they might as well play it at home. The lineups and the opening tip from the Northwest right after this. Game 5 next.
NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that a Miller time can be anything you want as long as it feels good. By Toyota, every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota every day. And by the U.S. Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be.
Beautiful and calm out on the water. But inside, there will not be many moments of serenity today. The lineups beginning with the visiting Minnesota Timberwolves. 3 and out in their first playoff appearance a year ago against Houston. Taking Seattle to a Game 5 here this time around. Marbury has not shot well since Game 2. Peeler over from Vancouver has given them a boost. Garnett with big numbers in the playoffs. Porter and Mitchell joining him in the small lineup that they're featuring. Cherokee Parks and Stanley Roberts, both hobbled by injuries, haven't played much at all for Flip Saunders. And he's without Michael Williams, one of his reserve guards, on his already short bench because he's been suspended for today's game. The Sonic lineup. Payton, the leading scorer among point guards in the league, has upped it in the playoffs to better than 25 a game. Hersey Hawkins had a huge Game 4 in Minnesota. Baker, quiet, relatively speaking, since Game 1 when he had 25 points with 12 rebounds. Jerome Kersey, the veteran, is starting for George Karl. He has hardly used Jim McElvain, normally their starting center. He's played only 7 minutes in the first 4 games. We go now to Ahmad.
Thanks, Bob. These NBA playoffs are all about players trying to get that stamp of approval as whether or not they're stars or superstars. Gary Payton is a superstar. As a matter of fact, the reason that the Sonics are in Game 5 is because Gary Payton put the team on his back in Game 4 and brought him here. I talked to Gary before the game. He told me that it's important for him to set the tone for this team, but the most important thing for him of all his opportunities on this team is to not allow his team to lose, which he will try to do again today. Bob?
Ahmad, thanks. A moment ago, we saw George Karl, despite all his success, at least 55 wins 6 years running, 61 wins this year. This could be, if things don't break right, the last game he ever coaches for the Seattle SuperSonics. Only the Bulls have a better record over the last half dozen years in the entire league than the Sonics, but the Bulls have the rings, and the Sonics, to this point, have none. The tip to Seattle. Payton guarded by Peeler. Hawkins lets fly. And it's out of bounds to Seattle. Hersey Hawkins had 16 first quarter points in Game 4 at Minnesota. 4 3-pointers included in that outburst.
Bob, Minnesota must weather the early energy and emotion that the Sonics are going to throw at them. First 7 or 8 minutes, then they must get down to execution. They must stay in the game here early.
Walks it slowly out of the backcourt. Anthony Peeler. The southpaw is short with it, but Garnett is there to give them a fresh 24. Porter played in 2 NBA Finals with the Trailblazers. Garnett looking for help. He'll shoot it himself. Doesn't get the bounce. The rebound is Schrempf.
Coming out very aggressive. I talked to him yesterday, and he told me that he'll keep putting the pressure on Marbury in the backcourt, make him work to dribble, but he also wants to attack the basket.
Marbury all the way, and then he had nothing to do with it. It was knocked out, though, by Seattle.
Very critical now for Minnesota. Offensively, Isaiah, they've got to keep the ball in the middle of the floor. Seattle loves to send everything baseline and trap, so Marbury must keep it in the middle where he has options.
Now, Marbury, when he's guarded by Hawkins, he's got to break him down off the dribble, get into the lane, penetrate and dish, and make easy shots for others.
Peeler explodes to the basket for the slam.
Great ball movement there out of the double team, and Anthony Peeler did not settle for the early 3. He drove the ball, attacked the basket. Really, Vin Baker's the only shot blocker on this Seattle team.
Porter's on Payton. Vin Baker's first shot is blocked and taken by Peeler. Into the lane he goes. The floater is no good. Back comes Seattle. Quick pace, but they throw it away.
Minnesota's got to be very careful that they do not get too eager with early shots here. That was a bad shot by Peeler. Really, the Sonics had a fast break, and Jerome Kersey just made a bad pass.
The Timberwolves have won twice in this building this year. The only visiting team to do so. Once in the regular season, once in the playoffs. Peeler for 3.
Now, Peeler traditionally gives the Sonics a lot of problems. George Carl told me yesterday that every time Peeler plays against the Sonics, he's a guy that he can't control and can't contain offensively and defensively.
Schrempf puts it on the floor and rolls it home. Why aren't the Timberwolves letting Marbury handle the ball? It's been Porter running their attack in the early going.
Well, when Flip talked to us about that, he has deadlift Schrempf against him, so he wants to free Marbury up a little bit, let Porter handle, bring Schrempf away from the basket, maybe break him down off the dribble.
This is Porter. 3 on the 24. And the shot is way off. Hawkins has it on the other side of the rim. Schrempf had room but couldn't put it down.
To follow up on your point about Marbury, they want to ease Marbury into the game. They don't want him to come out and take a lot of wild shots in the beginning.
Porter from Marbury for the three-pointer.
And that's exactly what Marbury wants to do. He wants to get into the lane, penetrate, dish, bring his other players into the game, and later in the fourth quarter, in the second half, have enough energy to really exert his will on the game.
Timberwolves with the 8-6 lead. Payton the fadeaway. He takes it.
Well, that's a tough shot, a fading jump shot. He had 2 hands in his face, going away from the basket. That's the superstar that Ahmad talked about in his opening.
Hawkins hounding Marbury. Porter driving on Schrempf. Misses badly, out of bounds to the Sonics. The officials are Dick Pavetta, Bernie Fryer, and Jack Neese. And Dick Pavetta blows his whistle as the Sonics come to the front court.
Now, Marbury told me yesterday he wants to get into the lane and penetrate. You see, he draws 2 defenders, which leaves Terry Porter open for a wide-open 3. Minnesota wants to keep the ball in the middle of the court to attack Seattle's defensive pressure.
A moment ago, Sam Mitchell picked up his first foul. Kersey on the run, short with it. Chased to the side by Mitchell. Peeler rescued from Vancouver midway through the season. Now in the playoffs with the Timberwolves. Marbury slicing through defenders. Outside to Porter. Another 3 off the Marbury assist again.
I think Marbury is showing tremendous poise. He's not looking for his shot. He's getting everybody involved right now. I think he'll settle in and look to score more later, but getting in the lane, making great passes.
Schrempf can't finish it on the reverse. Minnesota racing back, but Hawkins with the steal.
Marbury was looking for Porter that time, and in the exchange, he changed his mind and tried to hit Peeler.
Baker slings it out to Kersey. Gets it back from him.
Have you noticed here early in the first quarter that the Sonics are not settling for the quick 3-point shot? On the swinging of the ball, they're dribble penetrating. Maybe the threes will come later. They've made a conscious effort to stay away from that 3-pointer early in this game.
Garnett misses his second shot. He's 0 for 2. Marbury hasn't taken one yet. Hawkins. The leaner is in and out. Peeler comes racing back. Cut off by Kersey. Hands to Marbury. Now Mitchell is open. Minnesota's not playing afraid. Not everything is working necessarily, but they're not tight. At least they don't appear to be.
They're a very confident team right now. You'll see Payton try to take it into the lane and penetrate and dish and try to free up the shot brothers also.
Schrempf with a great tip off the missed jumper by Kersey.
You know, this game will come down to the penetration of Marbury and the penetration of Payton. Which point guard can get his other players involved first?
A foul is called. A Sonic foul. We'll sort it out when we come back. The shrimp tip gives Seattle a 12-11 lead with 5:32 to play in the first quarter of Game 5. At Key Arena this year, the Sonics were 35-6, only the #1 seed in each conference. Chicago and Utah have been here in Game 2, has won twice in this building. And here are some of the other teams with winning records this year who lost at home to the Timberwolves. So they are capable. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, Bob. Now, you would expect that the Timberwolves would be a little bit nervous coming into this game, going against the Sonics. We're a veteran team, but I was around these guys, Garnett, Marbury, none of them were nervous at all. Their attitude about this was if they can play the kind of basketball that they've played in the past, they can win the game here today. And as a matter of fact, Sam Mitchell told me, he said, hey, we have nothing to lose. We're just going to go out there and let it all hang out, which they have been doing so far, Bob.
Marbury's first shot of the afternoon, Ahmad, is way off. The foul before the commercial was on Vin Baker, his first for the Sonics. This is Baker. Working against Garnett. Finding Payton for three. Shrimp. And the Sonics will set it up again. They lead it by 1. Shrimp into the lane, tough shot, banks it way too hard, gets it back, misses, but Baker cleans up the mess.
When you do a lot of double teaming, one of the problems you have is you get caught in rotations and you give up the defensive backboard. Right now, Seattle has about 3 or 4 offensive rebounds, and they're hurting Minnesota with second shots.
Out of the corner, Mitchell, and Sam Mitchell connects. A 2-point basket, bringing them back to within 1.
Flip Saunders, you have to be very happy right now. You withstood all of this emotion and energy. You're right in the ball game, and you're still not shooting a high percentage.
Hawkins. Shrimp, let's go from 20. Detlef Shrimp has half a dozen. The Sonics lead it 16-13. Healer hits the three.
I really love the way Marbury is controlling his offense. He has 4 assists already. He's getting everybody involved. Later in the game, you'll start to see him get into the lane and start taking his little floater down the lane.
Payton backs away. Bounces it to Shrimp. He has 8.
Mr. Consistency, he's their 3rd guy on offense, but he has given it to him every night in this series. Vital for him to keep putting up those numbers.
Porter pulls up and misses the 3. Baker is on the glass. Payton's pass intended for Hawkins broken up. Back comes Peeler. Sam Mitchell alone. And Mitchell, whose minutes went way up after the injury to Tom Gugliotta, ties this game at 18.
Mitchell is a great baseline shooter, Bob. He's one of the best baseline shooters in the game. But the steal by Peeler is what got the play started.
Hawkins over Marbury. Rebound to Porter. Terry into the lane. Tough shot. Won't go for him. Shrimp slings it ahead to Payton. And the Sonics take the lead. Behind his back against Hawkins. Healer wastes no time and hits another 3 from the same spot.
He's got a piece of tape on the floor over there that he's just running to, and Marbury is finding him.
Flip Saunders told us yesterday that the addition of Peeler not only brought him a good basketball player, but it also brought them leadership in the locker room.
Percy was bumped. He'll shoot the free throws when we come back. Inside 2 minutes to play in the first, and Minnesota has the lead.
I mean, It's not like I asked to be famous.
Yeah, well, it's the price you pay.
You sign a lot of autographs?
Oh, yeah, you?
Some. They ask me to bend stuff a lot.
I can see that. What?
It's Lois. She's in trouble.
Did you look through that building?
Well, kind of. It's glass.
Watch it.
Whoa.
Idiot.
Lois!
Superman, I've forgotten my wallet.
I can't carry money in this. I'm powerless.
I'm not.
What's with the spinning? He idolizes me. It's embarrassing.
My hero.
What's that? It's a huge comet hurtling perilously towards Earth. We're doomed!
I think you better get this one. You can do more with the American Express card.
Wait, could you? It's for my kid.
Sacrifice. You need to be strong inside. Determination to succeed, to be number one, to be the best.
Pick up the boost, Max.
I enjoy driving 230 miles per hour.
3, go.
I never give up. Till checker flag is down, never give up.
You're being signed by your favorite NBA team. You and your friends take a private jet to the All-Star game. You're playing horse with your pal Michael Jordan.
Nice shot.
Now your dreams can actually come true with the Gatorade NBA Dreams game. Just uncap a Gatorade and you could uncap your dreams. And who knows?
All right, try this.
Maybe you'll win that game of horse.
Yes. 2 years ago, he took the Windy City by storm. Now Jay returns to Chicago with Oprah Winfrey, Heather Locklear, Dennis Rodman, Sidney Crawford, and Scottie Pippen. Jay's in Chicago starting Monday.
During the year, Seattle was the best three-point shooting team in the league. They've been way off their usual percentage on threes throughout this series. They're 0 for 2 in this game, while Minnesota's made 5 of 8 three-point attempts. 3 of them by Anthony Peeler, and he hasn't missed one.
George Carr told us that Peeler is the guy that they have no answers for. You see him go around on the baseline for the dunk, the three-point shot. He leads their team in steals. You see coming up right here, makes a steal right here, and then he starts the fast break, gets it to Mitchell on the baseline for the easy baseline J. Peeler is doing it all here, keeping the Timberwolves involved. But the thing that I like about the Timberwolves star, Doug, is that everyone has scored with the exception of Marbury and Garnett.
Isaiah, I think you can relate a lot to a guy like Marbury because you were very similar in that you could get your shot anytime you wanted to. And there's a fine line with when do I take mine and when do I get others involved. He's made a conscious effort here today to make sure his teammates are off and rolling before he's looking for his own.
He's done a beautiful job of getting everyone involved, and that's the thing that I struggled with early in my career, which is what Allen Iverson and Damon Stoudemire are struggling with now. How do you get everyone involved but yet keep yourself involved in the game?
Meanwhile, George Karl has gone to his bench. Sam Perkins and Dale Ellis are in. Vin Baker may be hobbling. We'll get a report from Ahmad in a moment. Payton with the steal. Schrempf on the baseline. Bumped by Tom Hammonds. No call. Ellis. Ellis inside. Acrobatic attempt. Doesn't draw iron.
That's the long arm of Kevin Garnett. Chased him off that shot.
Marbury, a long three. His first basket of the afternoon. Marbury against Payton. Payton, by consensus, one of the half dozen or so best players in the league. If Marbury is to help his team pull the upset, he'll have to do it against Payton in Payton's house. Percy drives and is fouled. A reminder that NBA.com opens the locker room door and lets you communicate with NBA players. You can send your questions to Steve Kerr, Sam Perkins, P.J. Brown, and Utah's Jacques Vaughn. They're the NBA.commentators. They'll answer your questions throughout the playoffs at www.nba.com. But to answer the question about Vin Baker, we don't have to go online. We go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. I just spoke with Frank Furtado, the Sonics trainer. He told me that Vin Baker felt a slight pull coming down the court, but then he felt it go away. He said he's still okay. He's ready to go back in the game. But right now, he's sitting on the bench with a hot pack on it, and it remains to be seen whether or not he does come back in. Bob?
Thanks, Ahmad. Peeler has hit 3. His first miss. He was about 3 feet beyond the arc when he let it go. But he's feeling it. The veteran Nate McMillan hands it to Payton. If the Sonics lose today, this is McMillan's final game in the NBA. He's announced his retirement. Perkins juggles it out of bounds. The T-Wolves have it.
That was a tough pass for Perkins to handle. It was a little bit too much mustard and peppered on that pass. Slipped right through his hand.
4 seconds to get off a shot. They do beat the horn, and it's banked home by Reggie Jordan. Normally, when a Jordan does something like that in the playoffs, his first name isn't Reggie. Reggie Jordan's career playoff high is 5 points. He gets 3 right here. Is it Minnesota's lucky day? On threes, they're 7 of 11. And they lead it after 1, 27-24.
The tallest mountain in North America is 20,320 feet. Cool.
Metal bars, designed to save your butt, designed to save your skin. Introducing Schick Protector with ultra-thin safety wires, because safe feels better. Schick Protector, the feel of smart design.
Unleash the beast. Unleash the beast. Unleash the beast, Milwaukee's best.
38 shots, 2 passes, 2. Man, you ain't even letting the ground touch the ball.
There's only one set of prints on this ball. Your son's.
No, I pass. Sometimes.
Hey, pass the ball, dog. Come on, pass me the ball. Pass the ball, dog.
Jimmy, do it. The man says pass the ball.
I'm waiting.
GP, I think I got something.
It's never easy busting a kid who hasn't learned that passing is fun. You just hope it turns him around.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1998 NBA playoffs.
Reggie Jordan getting a few minutes in this game only because Michael Williams has been suspended for this 5th game. Lets fly and banks it in just at the buzzer. Here's a guy who's been around the league for a few years, out of New Mexico State, mostly a CBA player. Look at the reaction of his coach, Flip Saunders, who himself was a CBA coach, but this is a long way from the Rapid City, South Dakota Thrillers. Saunders is in the playoffs now.
Bob, the longer this game goes like this, and Minnesota plays with this kind of confidence, this kind of freedom, Seattle will get tighter and tighter as the game goes on because they are the heavy favorite. It's important for Seattle here to come out and have a big second quarter.
The thing that I like what Minnesota has done is they've shot the ball well from the outside. Now they'll go inside because the defense is softened up now.
Hammonds misses the hook as the second period begins. Vin Baker is back in the lineup now for Seattle.
Ben Baker has got to get greedy. He's got to demand the ball in the post. Out of the double team, want it back.
He has it. He draws the double. He passes well out of it. But Ellis is short with it. Ellis, perhaps the best pure shooter in the league, has been bothered the last several weeks by an abdominal strain, and his percentage, both overall and on his specialty, three-pointers, has fallen. Garnett gives the Timberwolves a 5-point lead.
How about Marbury in the presence of mind to get Garnett involved on the low post?
Ellis swings it to McMillan. Now Perkins for three. The set shot no good.
See, with the small lineup in that Minnesota has, it's easier for them to recover to the three-point shooters and put pressure on the shots.
Healer into the lane. Dumps it off to Garnett, who has hit his first two baskets of the game back-to-back in this second quarter.
See, what happens is that three-point line, Healer's hit about 4 threes out there. So now you have to close out on him. When you do, penetrating dribble, draws the defense, and the nice dish to Garnett for the dunk. So that three-point line has completely opened up the game today for Minnesota.
This is a 2 for Garnett, but the three-pointers, it's really a case of Seattle getting a taste of their own medicine. They've killed teams all year long with the threes. It's Minnesota doing it to them in the first half of Game 5.
Knicks Heat, then Rockets Jazz, and Hornets Bulls Sunday on NBC.
Does a car have instincts? Can it anticipate the next curve? One car can make you believe it does. With a patented steering and suspension system, you have the agility to outsmart the most elusive of roads. Get low 1.9% financing or great lease rates on Intrigue and all Oldsmobiles. Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Been to some nice places.
Yes, I have. Singapore was terrific. That's Prime Minister something. You see that?
Scary.
Fatima, big star. 52 countries in 2 years.
This new software I've installed, it's gonna save your life. It's called Lotus Notes. Let you collaborate on projects all over the world. You never have to leave the office. It's gonna be great to have you around.
Got your Bud Light, you can't hit my friend.
Let's go. I'm thirsty.
For the great taste that will fill you up and never let you down.
Looks like you're buying.
Make it a Bud Light.
Coach is calling for the Heat. The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile retailers. And by Nike.
Back in Seattle, the young Timberwolves leading it by 7. The whole idea for Seattle was to jump on them early, let the crowd get in the game. Anything but that has happened so far. Ellis for 3, and Dale Ellis is off with it. It bounces to Marbury. Minnesota with numbers, but they lose it. Maybe the Sonics touched it. Bernie Fryer is saying they didn't. He may be overruled. He is. The trail official, Dick Babetta, says no. The Sonics did touch it, and Minnesota has it.
Long shots lead to long rebounds. A 4-on-2 break that time for Minnesota. Very fortunate that Nate McMillan could get a piece of that, or Garnett would have had another dunk. Remember now, Garnett and Marbury are capable of playing 48 minutes today. They probably will not come out of this game.
Marbury. Off to Garnett. Stripped to the ball. McMillan has it. Then Baker. His jumper
is no good. He had 19 shot attempts in game 1, but since they began doubling him, he's averaged only 10 shot attempts in the next 3 games. And Garnett beginning to heat up now in the second quarter. The Timberwolves by 9.
The thing that I noticed is that Seattle is an older team, and the Timberwolves is a very young team, and consequently the younger players are beating the older guys to every loose ball and they're taking them off the dribble.
McMillan is short with the 3. He manages to get in front of the pass, which might have sprung Peeler for a breakaway layup.
Bob, I think an important point here, you talked earlier, they have not shot the 3 this whole series very well, talking about Seattle, 27%. You can just see they're starting to pull the string on those 3-pointers. They're not shooting them as free and easy as they did in the regular season, and the more you miss, the tougher it is to take them.
Seattle 0 for 5 on 3s, while Minnesota has hit a blistering percentage, 7 of 11. Seattle is last in the league in rebounding. Their whole game is a disruptive defense that forces turnovers and leads to transition baskets and hitting 3-pointers consistently.
Let's see how they weather this now with Kevin Garnett sitting down.
Jordan gets free inside.
See, with Reggie Jordan, you cannot get beat on a back cut. He is not an outside shooter. He wants to take everything to the basket. You got to make him step out on the floor and catch the ball.
The Sonics trail by 11. Baker travels. Well, if Seattle's game is to force turnovers, they've committed 4 now. Minnesota only 2.
See, Reggie Jordan on that back cut against Dale Ellis. Seattle does a lot of switching. Reggie Jordan came to the point of the switch, reversed it, no one there to pick him up.
Peeler from Mitchell on the drive, loses it. And Payton back.
I think you're going to see Gary Payton start to really look for his shot right now. His team is getting in a hole. He's going to have to find some points, give his team some confidence.
Percy Hawkins. Ellis will try another 3. And this one, he will bury. It took almost 4 minutes for Seattle to score in this period. Minnesota had the first 8 points of the quarter.
And they really need Dale Ellis to step up and make some shots for them. He's the only guy that can come out there and really supply offense for the Sonics right now. They're struggling offensively, and they must get him some free looks at the basket.
Peeler. Another 3, or is it a 2-point basket? Timberwolves with an 11-point lead. He was just inside the line. Oh, it is a 3. A 3-point basket. We'll straighten this out. Here's Hawkins. To Payton. And Gary Payton brings his team back to within 9.
I think Seattle really is playing well when they look to penetrate and not settle for that quick 3. Isaiah, that thing sometimes can get you in trouble. Even when you've used it all season long, you got to get to the basket.
The quickness of the Timberwolves is forcing Seattle to go to the 3rd and 4th option. They don't have the 2nd option available.
Peeler again. Another 3. He's hit 5 of 6 3-pointers, and he has 17 first-half points.
George Karl called Peeler the Sonic Killer.
Payton wheeling around Peeler.
Payton's going to get aggressive now. What happens down here defensively, Isaiah, Gary Payton is a roamer. He goes for steals. He's guarding Peeler. So on penetration, they're looking for Peeler because Payton is the kind of guy who's always looking for the steals, helping off the ball. He's got to stay attached to Peeler, give him no more open looks.
Sam Mitchell tries a 3 and misses it. But Jordan is up on the glass. Good feed inside. Hammonds can't finish it. Another try. And finally, it's Perkins. Payton for Baker. And Key Arena erupts. Before the Sonics can get on a roll, Minnesota asks for time. They lead it by 8. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Hi, I'm Grant Hill, professional basketball player for the Detroit Pistons. You know, when I get thirsty, I reach for Sprite. You see, Sprite refreshes me like nothing else because it's the only drink with that cool, crisp, refreshing taste that satisfies even my manliest thirst. Yep, that's Sprite for you.
just drink Sprite because you like it, not because an athlete says he does.
Mark, if you're at the airport before my 8 o'clock flight, maybe we can talk. Otherwise, it's over.
Come on! I'll start. Oh, no! That's battery!
No matter what my customers drive, they depend on AC Delco batteries. They last up to 30% longer.
I'm sure they do. Just give me the generic equivalent, okay?
AC Delco. If you're not asking for it, you're asking for it.
McDonald's is going wild over the opening of Disney's Animal Kingdom, Disney's most adventurous theme park ever.
This is wild.
And when you supersize any extra value meal, like our bold, tangy McRib, you'll go wild too. Because now you can get one of 4 fiercely collectible cups free and a chance to win a wild vacation to Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park from McDonald's. Where can you go this wild?
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Stefan gonna get out of there. Shot clock at 3. Marbury for 3.
Littles against Jordan. Knocked away. Stolen by Michael. MJ on the run. Michael dunks the ball and a foul. Oh, my. Hands away on post. Watch the shot. Oh! This place is going crazy. Playoff excitement is in the air.
Its past shows contrast. Its present shares culture. In its future, a celebration. Salt Lake 2002 Olympic Winter Games.
Let's take a look at what's happening here for Minnesota as Marbury penetrates. We're going to see we stop it in just a moment. Right here is Gary Payton. Peeler is all the way down in the corner. He cannot get to him. So his help defense there actually hurts his team. Now we see him right here is Gary Payton once again. Here's Peeler. Penetration, and he can't get to him again. He's going to have to stay attached to him, but that goes against who Gary Payton is. He's always going to seek the ball.
Marbury is so smart in reading the defense. He's drawing Payton, freeing up his shooters, and he's giving up the basketball. He's playing an excellent floor game right now, getting Peeler involved, getting everyone involved, and he's taking Hawkins off the dribble anytime he wants to.
Sam Mitchell. Here's Peeler, the man of the moment. And he misses this one. Schrempf, one of 3 Sonics who could have pulled in the rebound. Detlef, Ellis, up top Hawkins. Schrempf driving on Mitchell. Through a crowd, 5 seconds to shoot. And Hawkins finally finds Baker. Marbury back. Mitchell from the baseline, way short. Hawkins the rebound. Sonics can cut it to 4. Or 3 if they hit a three-pointer. Hawkins will try it, but Peeler runs at him and blocks it. Marbury, Peeler, double pumps. Payton got a piece of it. And an offensive foul is called on the T-Wolves. And just like that, the momentum has shifted dramatically.
Yeah, Peeler tried to draw the foul, and trying to draw the foul, he extended his elbow, and Dick Bavetta caught him. He's trying to draw the foul on the penetration. Payton is coming down, and he sticks out his left elbow trying to draw the foul, and the referee caught him.
2 on Peeler. Shot clock. Baker. Peeler is up on the glass. What hasn't he done in this first half? Marbury weaving through a crowd. Terry Porter back in. Garnett in the lane. His fadeaway. They made him change his shot. Didn't hit the rim. And again, Seattle with a chance to cut into the lead. But Schrempf loses it. And Marbury, trying to walk a tightrope, is fouled by Payton.
Now, when I played, Bob, that That's the old force-out rule where you could force a guy out of bounds and just take the ball back in. Now it's either going to be a turnover. You either step on the line or it's a force-out and a foul on Gary Payton here. So the great steal by Stephon Marbury on the double team. And right here, Payton bumps him, forces him to step on the line, so it's a foul.
And it's Payton's first. Marbury, contact as he makes his move.
This Marbury is so explosive. He beats you with that step, but he's got such electricity when he goes to the basket. You really don't get a real feel for how good this kid is until you watch him in person, Isaiah.
The thing I love about Marbury is his vision out on the court. You know, a lot of point guards, they'll break you down off the dribble, and they'll give you a pass where you really can't catch it and score. Marbury gives you a pass where the seams are right, where all you have to do is catch it and put it in the basket.
Marbury out for a quick breather. Greg Anthony is in the game now for Seattle. That last foul was on him. And Baker chops Garnett.
Now this is where Garnett is really effective. 12 feet off the basket, where he can turn and face and put it on the floor and get around you. You see Ben Baker reaching there for the foul. Garnett is not necessarily a post-up player with his back to the basket. He has to turn and face and drive around you.
I don't think people realize how tall Kevin Garnett is either. I think he's taller than Ben Baker. When you throw in his wingspan, he plays about 7'1" or 7'2", and he's a small forward.
And the thing you love about Kevin Garnett is his personality. Really enjoys playing basketball. He loves to play basketball. And you see the glow and the shine on his face whenever he's out on the court.
Marbury for a short breather. 2 fouls now on Baker. Garnett makes 1 of 2. Minnesota by 7. Payton with that baseline move around Jordan. Garnett came over on the double, and Payton was fouled.
I talked to Randy Whitman this morning, who was the assistant coach for the Timberwolves, and he told me that this was the point in the game that he was really concerned about the last 3 minutes going into the half, because he knew the vets would make a run.
Folks, don't miss tomorrow's Meet the Press. Tim Russert has the latest on Ken Starr's investigation of President Clinton, plus conservative leader Dr. James Dobson on the future of the Republican Party. Check your local listings for the time in your area. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. Payton drills them both. Minnesota has missed its last 6 shots from the field. Sam Mitchell ends that streak.
Veteran experience. Poise, take your time, shoot the open jump shot. Isaiah, that's what you talked about when you talked about Sam Mitchell and Terry Porter, what they bring to this youthful Minnesota team.
And interestingly enough, Doug, those were the first 2 free agents that McHale went out and signed. He said bringing in Kevin Garnett, he wanted some veterans around that would come in every day and be professional and show Garnett the ropes of the league.
An illegal defense call on the Timberwolves. No foul, illegal defense. Sonic ball from the side when we come back.
Send your package in 2 days with FedEx, and people are impressed. Cost up to $11.
Send your package in 2 days with UPS, and people are impressed. Cost up to $11.
Send your package in 2 to 3 days with priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service, and people are impressed. Cost $3.
So, 11, 11, 3. What's your priority? Priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
Beneath the skin exists a framework. Solid in design, resilient, and ready to give you the most exciting performance you may have ever had behind the wheel. Call 1-888-4A-GRAND-AM for an even closer look. It's excitement well built. The all-new 1999 Grand Am by Pontiac.
Announcing the new Miller Lite Scratch and Sniff Fantasy Sweepstakes. If you can smell it, you can win it.
I think it smells like burnt rubber.
Smell burnt rubber and hang with Rusty Wallace and his pit crew.
Oh, you idiot. It smells like menthol rub.
In that case, you win the grand prize. Tickets for 2 to the All-Star game of your choice.
Hey, what are you looking at?
See special displays for details.
I'm Hannah Storm in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll check in on that hotly contested Eastern Conference series between the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat. In the aftermath of the Game 4 fight involving Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson, people are getting testy, including Pat Riley, who had this to say about Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy.
Well, when he came out and said it was Zoe's fault, and that really there was no provocation for him to throw the punch, I think he's off base. And the fact that my player has now been, classified an asshole by Jeff Van Gundy to one of my guys, I don't appreciate that either. And the fact that he thinks he should have been suspended for 5 to 10 games, well, he should become the commissioner then.
Strong words from the Miami coach. We'll talk about that at halftime. Right now in Seattle, the Timberwolves lead the Sonics by 7 as we rejoin Bob Costas, Doug Collins, Isaiah Thomas, and Ahmad Rashad.
Well, judging from Pat Riley's comments, the pressure cooker of the playoffs can turn old friends into no-holds-barred adversaries. That's what it's become between Riley and Van Gundy.
When the Sonics get in trouble, Gary Payton says, I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to go to the basket with it. The fading jump shot here. You see him on the baseline, the penetrating drive. Then what he really likes to do, he likes to get on that baseline and spin and take the ball to the basket. So in this critical period of time when he felt his team needed some points, he took the ball in his hands, and I think he scored 6 out of the last 8 points.
Payton with the ball has 10 points and 3 assists in this half. Anthony, the former Knick, to Schrempf, who's immediately double-teamed. That has to leave somebody open. Anthony fires a 3. That's just the second 3. Ellis had one earlier that the Sonics have managed in this first half. But it brings them back to within 4. Garnett travels at the other end.
Now, Minnesota, their quickness has taken every option, the first and second option away from the Sonics, and they have to go to their 4th and 5th pass to get a shot.
Healer up on Hawkins. Outside Anthony, another one. This one's off. Jordan. That's Reggie Jordan if you're just tuning in. This is Sam Mitchell, short.
See Seattle in this lineup right now, too. Devin Schrift has moved over to the power forward.
Oh! Hawkins lays it in, and it's a 2-point game. Minnesota had led by 12. Seattle has sliced it to 2.
We talked about the last 3 minutes of the second half, how the Timberwolves coaches will worry about mental breakdowns. Here on the fast break, the penetration, Hersey Hawkins gets the easy lay-in. The Sonics have come all the way back, and they're only trailing by 2 with 1:38 to go. Timberwolves must finish strong going into the second half.
Bob, also, too, with this lineup, Greg Anthony can handle the ball. He can be a point guard. You've got Hersey Hawkins there, too. Both those guys can shoot the 3. Payton slides down and plays like the small forward. Now Schrempf, who can shoot the ball, moves to power forward, and Baker at center. This is the versatility that Seattle has. They've hurt them with this lineup during this stretch.
After the timeout, with their lead dwindling. And now it's knocked away. Schrempf comes up with it. Sonics on a...
See if Payton goes right back into the post, Bob.
Sonics on a 13-3 run. They could tie it or take the lead here. Seconds to shoot. Payton will. High archer is short. Hawkins comes up with it and is fouled. One of the best free free throw shooters in the league will now go to the line. And wait a minute, Baker and Garnett exchanging shoves. It doesn't come to punches. No matter how heated it gets, if every player in the NBA hasn't learned by now, after what happened in New York the other night, after what happened in Miami last year, somebody's going to have to give them all a wake-up call.
The Sonics talked early yesterday about coming out and being very physical with the Timberwolves. They didn't think that they could handle the physical play. You see the push and the shove. Hawkins gets up. And Baker and Garnett, a little point, a little push. But what this is all about right now is Seattle is trying to get the Timberwolves out of character. They believe that they can get inside their heads and make them do things that they're not capable of doing because of their mental and emotional state.
A double technical is called on Baker and Garnett. Hawkins now has a chance to tie the game. We'll show you 3 games tomorrow on NBC, beginning with Showtime at noon, then the deciding Game 5 of the Knicks and the Heat. And is there ever plenty of heat surrounding that series now? Another Game 5 follows, Rockets and the Jazz from Salt Lake. Then it's the Hornets and the Bulls in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals from Chicago. It begins with Showtime, noon Eastern, a triple header. Once down by 12, Seattle has climbed back to tie it.
Now, Bob, as a point guard, this is when Marbury really has to step up and show his leadership and calm things down out on the floor.
Sam Mitchell double pumps it as it swatted back in his face. Minnesota recovers it. Porter fires and hits a huge 3.
The penetration of Marbury, the dish to Porter, did the right thing. He exerted his leadership at this point in time in the game to settle things down so they have a chance to go into the half without experiencing a rush from Seattle.
Anthony playing plenty of important minutes in this first half. Loose ball out of bounds, and Seattle made the last contact.
Minnesota now wants to play here for the last shot. There's about a 4-second differential. They want to get a good shot at the basket. At worst, go in up 3, possibly 5 or 6. 5
on the shot clock. Mitchell pass and was standing out of bounds. And Seattle smartly takes a 20-second timeout to set up a play with 6.1 on the clock. Mitchell's foot is on the line as he receives the pass.
You know, Bob, one of the things I've always said about the NBA now is the players have gotten so big and strong that the court has gotten too narrow. They almost need to widen the court because when you get behind the three-point line on the side, you're almost always going to step out of bounds. But here's the altercation.
Hard to tell with a shot from the rafters exactly what happened, but they weren't pleased with each other.
I think as Baker went to help Hawkins up, he gave Garnett a shot in the chest. Garnett responded to the shot with a challenge. But that's all mental mind games that the Sonics are trying to play with Minnesota right now to get them out of character so they won't come out and have a good third and fourth quarter. This is where leadership is really important for the Timberwolves and a young team growing up in this league, learning playoff experience and experiencing a Game 5 elimination.
6 seconds to get off the half's final shot. Anthony on the run, fires it and misses it. The follow comes after the horn. No basket. No basket. George Karl's team heads for the locker room, trailing by 3.
See Greg Anthony with the miss. Look for the red light over the basket. You can't hear the horn here. The red light has gone off where the ball is still in Vin Baker's hand. That's an excellent call by Dick Bavetta.
How about this half for Anthony Peeler? 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 of 6 on three-pointers. He's the story. Prudential halftime report after these messages. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Ever wish you could run as fast as you drive?
Do you wash your car more than you mow your lawn?
Do you want a car that sounds as good as it feels? Shouldn't there be a national holiday for the guy who designed the GTO?
Ever cancel a plane reservation?
Because you'd rather drive?
Do you like a car that moves like an athlete?
Do you think world leaders ever ditch their bodyguards to go for a spin?
This is Pontiac driving excitement. This is for me.
This is for me.
For
me.
Join us.
You know, I thought every deodorant worked the same. Till I tried longer-lasting, high-endurance from Old Spice. Nothing stronger at stopping odor longer. If you do this or this, you're gonna sweat. But high endurance will help you stop odor better than any other deodorant. It has a 24-hour formula that evaporates less quickly, so it lasts longer. Guaranteed. Or call 1-800-PROVE-IT, and they'll buy you a stick of yours. Take the challenge, because this is more than the best deodorant. It's the high endurance of deodorants. And give this Pure Sport scent a shot.
Let's say this is Castrol Syntec motor oil, and this is a harmful particle in your engine. Get the point? You see, Syntec's patented stabilizers seek out and neutralize harmful particles, protecting in ways other oils can't. Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant.
Sunday at noon Eastern, Game 5 for the Knicks and the Heat. With key players suspended, who'll step up under the increased do-or-die pressure? Then it's all on the line for the Rockets and the Jazz. Can the mailman deliver one more time? And Michael and the Bulls start their showdown with the Hornets. An NBA on NBC playoff triple header Sunday.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
It's halftime of Game 5 in Seattle with the Timberwolves leading the Sonics 47-44. Anthony Peeler leads all scorers with 17. Minnesota shooting a blistering 10 of 14 from three-point range. Hi, everybody. Hannah Storm along with John Spider Sally and Peter Vesey. We're going to talk about the first half of this game a bit later on. But first, tomorrow's triple header begins with Game 5 of New York and Miami. And obviously, the big story is the 3 suspended players. Alonzo Mourning for the Heat. He fought with Larry Johnson of the Knicks, both suspended for 2 games. Chris Mills also suspended for leaving New York's bench. With a report, we go to Mike Breen and Matt Gukas in Miami.
Hannah, over the last couple of days, Pat Riley and Jeff Van Gundy have been tinkering with their lineups and how to move on without their suspended players. And although adjustments will be made, Pat Riley does not expect many surprises from the Knicks.
We know where they're going to go, but I do think that they will still play a real team game. They have been relying on that since Patrick went down, even though their 2 most prolific players probably are Houston and Starks. They have other guys that can hurt you. They can step up and have a game. So they're going to approach us the same way with Tim and with Mashburn. You know, they're going to load up on who they perceive can hurt them offensively, and we have to do the same thing.
And Pat Riley also made the point he wants his players to be as relaxed as possible and to play on their instinct. And really, it's too late in the day to put any new wrinkles in.
All right, with the suspensions, Matt, Heat lose 1 player and the Knicks lose 2. Who gets the edge?
Mike, this series has been highlighted by the guard play. Now, with Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson out, the backcourt becomes even more of a focal point. And I don't think Miami has anybody to effectively shut down Allen Houston. And I don't think the Knicks have anybody to slow down Tim Hardaway. But Hardaway, home floor, Heat advantage.
In terms of who starts for the suspended players, neither coach will tip their hand just yet. They say they're going to go according to what the other does. Although, however, Hannah, I do have from one exclusive league source, both teams will start 5 players.
Yes, that's probably a safe bet, Mike. Also, we have learned that Dan Marley, who did an admirable job defensively on the Knicks' Allen Houston in this series, he had hernia surgery yesterday. He will be lost to the Miami Heat for at least 1 week, probably more like 2 weeks into the playoffs, should they advance. And we heard earlier in the game, Peter, late in the second half, some comments by Pat Riley about Jeff Van Gundy, his assistant of 4 years. It seems like the war of words has escalated now between the two coaches.
You know what that is? It makes for sensational headlines in tomorrow's New York Times. But other than that, we're talking about psychological warfare, more of Pat Riley's mind games. And you know what they say about words not being able to hurt you? And I guess we can say the same for Larry Johnson's and Alonzo Mourning's punches.
Yes. None of which came close to connecting, by the way. Meanwhile, you had quite an extensive chat with Terry Cummings, who now, with Larry Johnson out, becomes New York's first option in the low post. What's his take on tomorrow's game? And he's got an injury problem, too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he said he gets the call. He's willing to come out and play. Last night, I saw him at dinner, and he says, I got 9 toes to play with, John. I have 1 dislocated. And when he gets that call, he doesn't think Mark Strickland can hold him. We know Dwayne Coswell can't hold him. So I think he should be the starting power forward and center.
All right, he could be the X factor in tomorrow's game.
That's right.
Who knows? When we return, we'll check in on tomorrow's 2 other games, including Game 5 in Utah between the Jazz and Rockets. But first, a message from Prudential and a word from the NBA.
My girls were in an accident. I called Prudential. Good afternoon, Prudential. They told me what to do.
Do an estimate of the damages.
It was just wonderful.
And then begin immediate repair.
I can authorize a rental vehicle for you. I have gotten other quotes from other insurance companies. I'm calling about the accident you reported today. They really can't compare. We'll do what we need to do to get this resolved as quickly as possible. You're all set.
Thanks for calling Prudential.
I've found a good company and I'm staying with them.
This is where I go after school. There's always someone here to give advice and encouragement, and you never know who's gonna show up.
I know you're worried about that math test, but study hard and do your best, okay?
Whether shooting pool or helping with problems, having someone there for us really makes a difference.
Everyone wins when you volunteer. Team up to improve your community.
The middle game of tomorrow's triple header is the decisive 5th game between Houston and Utah. Last night, the Jazz rode a huge second half to a 22-point win. After the game, Lisa Molosky filed this report.
The Rockets came out guns blazing. Clyde Drexler and Akeem Olajuwon appeared ready to take Houston to the next round. Rockets led by 11, 21-10 after 1. But the turning point came second quarter, courtesy of Antoine Carr, who elbowed Charles Barkley in the right tricep. Barkley tried to return, but simply could not shoot.
Antoine Carr just came down with an elbow. It was an accidental elbow and just came down in the perfect place. And right now, like I say, the muscle's just traumatized and it doesn't want to work, and there's really nothing I can do about that.
His absence left Coach Rudy Tomjanovich with few options.
I felt his loss because when he comes in, the guys that have been pounding it inside, now I give them a chance to rest, even when they're on the floor, and we didn't have that luxury.
Last night's loss clearly took a lot out of the Rockets, and they face an even more daunting task tomorrow without Charles Barkley. He said it would take a miracle in order for him to be able to play in Salt Lake City in Game 5. That's the story from here in Houston. Well, let's go back to the studios in New York City and Hannah Storm. Hannah?
Thanks, Lisa. And indeed, it would take a miracle. Just to update the Barkley situation, late word today has it that Barkley has had a torn triceps muscle. He will miss the remainder of the playoffs. So following the Jazz and the Rockets, we have got Game 1 of the Charlotte and Chicago series. The Bulls won that season series 3-1. And one of the keys was the Bulls' ability to keep Glenn Rice in check. With a report, we go to Dan Hicks in Chicago.
Hannah, you're looking at exclusive pre-practice video of the Bulls' Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen obtained by our crack crew here today at the United Center. Things obviously a little slow there, but later on, Bulls coach Phil Jackson would call yesterday's workout and today's the best practices the Bulls have had in over a month. Now, after practice, Pippen and Jordan eluded the media. Dennis Rodman did not. He addressed the media, but in his usual walk and talk fashion. Today's mini subject, his much anticipated physical matchup with the Hornets' Anthony Mason.
You can't keep him out of paint. He's too damn big. You know, you just try to frustrate him more than anything. But I don't know what can I do with a guy that's about 280. I'm only 220. So, but you know, I've been doing it all year long. Hope I can keep continuing doing.
Both of them have the mentality that they're going to challenge a person. They're physically going to keep going at somebody. They're going to make somebody back down from them. That's a mano-a-mano kind of a battle, and you know, that's where the Alligators wrestle, and those are two of the best in the league.
And finally, one injury note. Bulls coach Phil Jackson said he's tinkering with the idea of starting center Luke Longley, who's been out for more than a month with a left knee bruise. Longley told us after practice that even if he doesn't start, he expects to play in short bursts. Game 1 in this best-of-7 set for tomorrow here at the United Center. Hannah, back to you in New York.
Thank you, Dan. Our triple header gets underway tomorrow at noon with Showtime. Game 1 is New York at Miami, the winner moving on to face Indiana. Then it's Houston and Utah, the winner to move on and face San Antonio. And finally, the opening game between the Hornets and the Bulls. At halftime in Seattle, the Timberwolves lead the Sonics by 3, 47-44, an intriguing first half in which the T-Wolves led by as much as 12 points. And Anthony Peeler, who was buried way deep on the bench with the Grizzlies. What did he play? 8 games before being traded? Are you surprised he's been such a big factor here in Minnesota?
I'm not surprised at all, Hannah, because he was a big part of Del Harris's bench with the Lakers. He and Sedell Threed, I saw them win many games off the bench there. And then the Lakers had to include him in the deal to Vancouver because they needed to make cap room for Shaquille O'Neal. So George Lynch and he went there. This guy is a complete ball player. He had 19 points, 20 points, 19 points in the last 2 games, 17 points today. He had 14 rebounds in game 2, and he knows how to make the play. As you just saw, he drew Nate McMillan to him and then found Kevin Garnett for a basket. He had five assists in this first half and 5 rebounds to go with his 17 points.
And 5 3-pointers, 5 of 6 from three-point range. Now, what about Vin Baker, who you said had to be a big factor for Seattle today? 4 of 7, 8 points, 4 rebounds. What about the job Minnesota's doing defensively on him?
Well, they're being as aggressive on defense as they are on offense. They're double teaming the post no matter who's inside of it, making them try to beat him with the jump shots. And he got Vin Baker very frustrated. You can see Vin Baker wanting to step to him, wanting to fight him, anything to get him going. They're doing a great job right now.
Assess that double technical just moments ago. It's the Timberwolves over the Sonics by 3. We'll send you back to Seattle for the second half right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services.
NBC tonight. 2 pretenders are better than 1.
I love you, Daddy.
A boy's life held for ransom in 2 all-new episodes of The Pretender.
Where is he?
Can a man who can be anyone
Sydney, please.
become a father to save a son? The Pretender, beginning at 8/7 Central. Then, a child beauty queen murdered. Her parents the prime suspects. A family's mystery is about to be solved. Profiler after The Pretender. All new NBC Saturday tonight.
We're all looking for stories with happy endings, like Brandon and Lori, women that have run their own race against breast cancer. Now they're running with thousands of others in Race for the Cure events to raise awareness and money for breast cancer education and research. That's why Ford Division supports Race for the Cure, because of all the racing we do. This is one race that has to be won.
The Twin Cities Race for the Cure is May 10th at Southdale Center in Edina.
My idea? Install a stereo system on the Jimmy Page Robert Plant tour bus.
You're in for a surprise.
Amazing!
Isn't it? And look at this installation. 16 150-watt amps. Tweeters for high end, mid-ranges here, and subwoofers for powerful bass.
If you can drive it, we can put tunes in it. Best Buy. Now that's a great idea.
Could I get a job on this tour?
Dodge Dakota owners are celebrating. A recent J.D. Power & Associates study ranked Dakota most appealing compact pickup. But we believe this lease is pretty appealing too. How do you add lots more muscle without breaking a sweat? Buy a Dodge Dakota and get a Magnum V6 at no extra charge. So come bulk up at the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Pier 11 goes to Red Wing Friday.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1998 NBA playoffs.
It's possible that George Karl's Sonics could lose in the first round for the third time in 5 years. But they made a move toward the end of the first half. They were down by 12. They cut it to 3 at halftime with Doug Collins and Isaiah Thomas. Bob Costas back at Key Arena. Time to take a look at the Miller Lite halftime stats.
Well, if you're Minnesota, it starts at the three-point line. 10 for 15 on three-point field goals, 16 assists on 18 field goals. So it was a penetration, catch and shoot first half for Minnesota. For the Sonics, Peyton and Hawkins combined for 16 points, but only 2 of 9 three-pointers. They're shooting 27% in the series. That trend continues here today.
Now, Peyton is shooting the ball extremely well. He's 4 of 6 from the field. Baker is shooting the ball well. Look for them to step up more in the second half and exert their offensive will on the game. When you look at Minnesota, Peeler has stepped up and had a huge half for the Timberwolves. Marbury has only taken 2 shots. He has 7 assists. Look for Marbury to come out and really get himself involved in a basketball game.
Regardless of what happens in the second half, the Minnesota Timberwolves have opened some eyes in this series. Their coach, Flip Saunders, is with them on.
All right, thanks, Bob. Flip, one of the things you were concerned with is not letting Seattle get a big lead in the first half, but it was quite the opposite.
Well, when you hit threes like we did, that'll keep you in the game. Hopefully what we'll be able to do is be able to continue to keep on shooting the ball well. And I think a big key for us, we got to go inside now. We've got them so conscious of guarding us out in perimeters that I think we can get some penetration in the basket.
What about the job Stephon Marbury has done controlling the game, so to speak, with only taking 2 shots?
Well, he's done a great job. He's got 7 assists, has not turned the ball over very much, and it's not only the pass that he's made a lot of passes that another guy's made a pass for the score. So our guys have done a great job. You know, we're undermanned a little bit with numbers, but they're playing hard.
All right, good luck in the second half.
Thank you,
All right, back to you, Bob.
Thanks, Ahmad. A lot of people thought that when Tom Gugliotta was hurt, taking 20 points and 9 rebounds a game with him, the T-Wolves were done. That wasn't true.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to see that's how I dream to be. Boom, 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 boom. I dream I move. I dream I move like Mike.
If I could be like Mike. If I could be like...
What's up, Mike?
I'm not going to sing.
How do you get this equipment to these troops when there's a river between them? Build a bridge. Problem solving. You need it now in college. Learn it now in the Army Reserve.
Be all that you can be.
Metal bars, designed to save your butt, designed to save your skin. Introducing Schick Protector with ultra-thin safety wires. Because safe feels better. Schick Protector, the feel of smart design.
Why did IntelliChoice call the new Nissan Altima the best overall value in its class? They must have read the Consumer's Digest called it a Best Buy 4 times. And maybe they heard that Money Magazine called it one of the sweetest deals for $98. Or maybe they just drove it. See what they all like with special 1.9% APR financing on any new Nissan Altima.
The last thing this father and son did together was board the 533 to Long Island.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, but it's not good. What you're saying is that my son is gonna die too.
She gave her son the will to live.
You will walk again.
And brought a killer to justice.
Tomorrow you will be sentenced and gone forever.
Based on the true story, The Long Island Incident, NBC Sunday.
Doug, you saw George Karl amiably chatting with some fans as he sat on the bench before the third quarter began. Flip Saunders so composed, talking with Ahmad, but those outward demeanors mask something different inside.
Oh, no question. You look at Flip Saunders, and he's saying, well, we have a great opportunity today to really make some history. And for George Karl, he has all kinds of mixed emotions. His team needs to come out in this third quarter and get off to a good start, because it's been Minnesota in that first quarter that really set the tone for this game.
A Seattle foul as the third quarter begins. Sam Mitchell was hacked as he made his move. Detlef Schrempf picks up the personal.
See, and all the pressure is on Seattle. We've talked about that before, Bob. You said with Minnesota, when Gugliotta got hurt, everybody sort of had written this team off. But now they're playing loose and free, and the shots are falling. And for Seattle, the pressure is we're supposed to win this series. And the longer this goes, again, the more confident Minnesota becomes.
Whether it's the Cavaliers, the Warriors, the Albany Patroons, Real Madrid in Europe, George Karl knows what a lot of coaches and managers through the years have come to realize. Losing hurts worse than winning feels good. Somebody said that once, and it was so true. Timberwolves by 5. Schrempf into the lane. Tough shot, doesn't get the roll. Porter has it. You played against him in the '90 finals. Pistons against Trailblazers, Zeke.
Porter's a very tough matchup. He likes to drive left, and he's a great three-point shooter.
Here it is. Couldn't prove your point that time, though.
Now you look at Porter guarding Percy. Both those guys played on the same team in Portland.
Seattle lost it, and on the turnover, the Timberwolves have the ball and their 5-point lead.
If I'm George Karl and we go another possession and I don't like our energy, even though I'm a veteran team, I might have to take a timeout and say, guys, look, this is getting serious now. We got to get our energy level up and meet what these young kids are doing today.
The Timberwolves definitely aggressive right now. Sonics have come out very tentative offensively and defensively, and the Timberwolves have taken it to them.
Taylor's pass intended for Garnett never got there. The teams exchange turnovers. Seattle comes back. Percy Hawkins nails the three. Minnesota with a 2-point lead. Here is Garnett against Baker. They nearly came to blows in the first half. And the youngster Garnett lost it. Talk about playing in this kind of playoff game. Garnett won't be 22 until next month. Marbury just turned 21.
When I spoke to Garnett and Marbury yesterday, the only reference that they could use was playing in a high school championship game. I told them that they had no idea what Game 5 would be emotionally for them, but they've come out and done an excellent job.
Hawkins again. Good again. He drills back-to-back triples. And the Sonics, who trailed by a dozen in the first half, now lead it. Marbury into a crowd, lost it, but a foul.
Hersey Hawkins with back-to-back threes. The first one out of the double team. The ball goes into Schrempf. Marbury helps back. Nobody rotates to the shooter. Hersey Hawkins gets his feet together and buries it. The next one, penetration. And Hawkins goes to the open area and buries another one.
Hawkins picked up the foul. Minnesota ball from the side. Percy has Marbury, who drives past him for the floater, no good. Off Garnett's hands, clutched by Schrempf. He stumbles in the front court and loses it. It's a 3-on-0 break. All the way, Peel.
Now Payton had to take a timeout because the Sonics were arguing the call. No one came back to help them inbound the basketball, and they wasted a 20-second timeout.
Detlef Schrempf felt that he was tripped on the play. Looks like he just sort of stumbles over his own foot. I don't think there was a foul there, but what happened was they stopped, Isaiah, as you talked about. and were complaining about the call. No one came back, so they had to burn a 20-second timeout. Now, late in a close game, they might need that 20-second timeout.
Now Garnett kind of reaches in, but I don't think he fouled him. I think Detlef tripped over his own foot. But when you are the aggressor, all the breaks tend to go your way.
Payton guarded by Peeler, runs him into a screen by Schrempf. Now it's Kersey, baseline jumper. Across the bucket, no good. And Garnett has it. Marbury in traffic, and another turnover.
That's 3 out of 4 possessions that Minnesota's turned it over. Seattle thrives off turnovers.
Hawkins hits his third three-pointer of this third quarter. Minnesota, which protected the ball so well in the first half, has been giving it up here in the third quarter, setting Seattle up offensively. Can Garnett answer? He's tied up, and it's taken away from him. The 4th turnover and 5 trips down the floor. Payton from Baker, got it! Minnesota better put a halt to this, and they do ask for a timeout. Three-pointers, so much a part of Seattle's game, non-existent in the first half and really through much of the series. But in this third quarter, first Hawkins, now Payton.
The government will try to hide it.
Turn your camera off.
The military will try to destroy it.
Prepare to synchronize the nukes.
But on May 8th,
we're at T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
The whole world will feel the comet's impact. Sarah! From executive producer Steven Spielberg.
You're gonna die if you stay here.
If you love me, you'll go.
And director Mimi Leader.
Life will go on.
Deep Impact.
We will prevail.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, May 8th, everywhere.
It's going to be 8 feet wide and 48 feet long. It's buckets of eggs, hundreds of pounds of flour and sugar and vanilla. Well, it's a pretty big party, that's for sure. The cake is the size of a flatbed semi. This logo here in the middle is going to be about 6 feet long, 4 feet wide. I think the bikers appreciate all the detail that we put into the cake. It makes it all worth it when I see their faces.
Miller Genuine Draft presents even more basketball.
In the first half, the Sonics were very tentative with the three-point shots, only hitting 2 for 9. Hawkins has come out, and he's not tentative at all, catching it, shooting it right away. You see him lining up there for a 3, knocking it down, getting the crowd involved, and then Payton comes back and sticks another one. They're not tentative right now. They're pouring it on. And the Timberwolves defensive players must get to the three-point shooters. The Sonics led the league in three-point shooting.
And in recognition of this look inside the game, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. Porter. Garnett. Lost it.
5 turnovers out of 6 possessions, Bob.
Here's Payton. Schrempf, another 3. This one's off. The rebound is tapped to Porter.
But the what the Timberwolves must recognize right now is that the officials are going to let the game get a little bit more physical. They're not going to make a lot of calls. The Sonics have stepped up. They're being very physical with the Timberwolves, and they must understand that they must meet that force and respond kindly.
3 fouls on Vin Baker. Garnett the turnaround. And Baker has it. Payton around Peeler. Payton into the lane, double pump, no. Baker! It doesn't fall, but a foul. Could have been a three-point play.
Seattle has scored 12 points this quarter. They've all been off three-point field goals. So this will be their first opportunity. Now we got to remember, Vin Baker was 1 for 8 in game 4 at the free throw line. Here he is, very, very aggressive on that offensive backboard. I think these free throws are critical for his confidence.
And he misses another one. Remember, Baker, a 4-time All-Star, had never played in the playoffs prior to this year. This is his first time in the playoffs, and at the University of Hartford, he never played in the NCAA tournament either, so he has never played under circumstances remotely like this.
If you look at him, though, his heels are staying down on the floor, so he's shooting the ball all upper body. He's got to get more legs into his shot. That will help him under pressure.
The Sonics have turned a 12-point deficit into a 6-point lead. Garnett knocked away again, but the loose ball is scooped up by Mitchell, who has an open path to the hoop. Baker from Kersey.
We're caught on a mismatch down low. Marbury was stuck guarding Baker. They read the mismatch. Baker slipped for an easy dunk.
Baker with 11 now. Peeler fires. Anthony Peeler. A veteran from the University of Missouri who has played most of his NBA career, although he was with the Lakers for a few years, in relative obscurity. Coming up big in the playoffs for the Timberwolves. An offensive foul on Jerome Kersey.
Now in the playoffs, they take advantage of every mismatch. Kersey recognizes Marbury is guarding Baker. Baker slides in for an easy dunk. You can't make mental mistakes in the playoffs, particularly in a game 5, because the team that you're playing against, Seattle, will capitalize every single time.
Marbury with a 3 that is an air ball. Despite Peeler's hustle, Minnesota loses it.
Poise and composure. Where you start to see it go is turnovers and bad shots. That's what Minnesota has fallen into here as Seattle has increased the pressure on them defensively.
They maintained their poise throughout the first half. Maybe this third quarter is a different story. They led by 3 when it began. They trail now by 4. Out of bounds to the Timberwolves. So Seattle giving them a window to get back into the game the last few possessions.
Kersey puts it on the floor and spins, but Marbury slaps it off his leg and it rolls out of bounds. Right now, Marbury has to get the ball and settle his offense down and penetrate and look to get into the lane and free people up for easy shots.
It's Hammonds who hits in the paint, plus he drew some contact. Chance for a 3-point play.
Now, Hammond is a better low-post offensive player than Garnett. He can play with his back to the basket. He gets Kersey on his back, turns into the lane for the easy shot. Garnett has a hard time playing in the low post with his back to the basket because he doesn't have the leg strength underneath.
Hammonds, who was on that Denver team that shocked Seattle back in '94, the 8th seed beating the 1, completes the 3-point play. Hold on. A whistle from Jack Neese. Anthony Peeler with personal number 3.
I think it will be interesting right now to see how George Karl is going to use his bench. Is he going to go to speed and quickness with a Greg Anthony? Or is he going to come back with a Sam Perkins? We'll have to see what he does. In that first half, the smaller lineup was more effective.
Baker's pass knocked away and stolen.
Minnesota's not going away. They're hanging around, still down only 1 point.
It's Marbury, picked up by McMillan. Garnett. Can't hit on the bank attempt. Payton into the lane with a little hook that's good. Wow, what a move.
Gary Payton is so good around the basket. Posting up, little hook shots, little floaters.
15 for Payton. He's averaged 25 in the series. Hawkins on Marbury. Turnaround Hammonds. And all of a sudden, Tom Hammonds makes his presence felt. Payton around Keeler, who bumped him, barely grazed him actually, but it's going to be his 4th.
Now Payton has the ability to shoot it right-handed and left-handed. This time he elects to shoot the right-handed hook over Garnett. Very seldom do you see that a small player has the hook shots right and left, Doug.
Anthony Peeler picks up his 4th foul, which will be very critical. He has been their offense today with his 3-point shooting. They're going to have to be able to buy some time. 3:44 here in the 3rd quarter. Reggie Jordan is in, but what they lose is a shooter on the floor. So now Gary Payton can roam and help off of Reggie Jordan because he didn't have to be concerned about him shooting the outside jump shot.
Payton on the move. Through a crowd. It's Schrempf now. Nice pass. Hawkins trying to muscle it up in traffic and loses it.
The quickness of the Timberwolves defensively. They're able to shut down the option. You see the help in the recover. Marbury comes in and watch Garnett comes back and slaps it out of there. They're so quick to get to the basketball that they're making the Sonics use their 4th and 5th option.
Garnett to Jordan. Jordan, well, he wouldn't have played much at all today had Michael Williams not been suspended for leaving the bench in Game 4 during a brief altercation between Schrempf and Hammonds. And Jordan has contributed while he's been in there. He's scored 7. Perkins in the lane. Got it. Fires a 3. That's way long. McMillan takes it. Trying to lead Perkins, who couldn't save it.
You must know your personnel. Sam Perkins on the dead run, unless it's a perfect pass where you can catch that ball and lay it in the basket, you've got to keep that ball back and make sure you get a good shot opportunity.
Well, the Timberwolves have taken a hit here in the 3rd, but they haven't gone away.
I'll tell you when. I'm gonna tell you when.
You disappear. For a few hours, you disappear. You become a yelling, screaming, jumping, partying, thrill-seeking, horse-loving, king-crazy pirate man. You need to disappear! Go, baby, go!
Fire like this!
I'm George Morrison, reminding you to give all you can. And score one for the kids. And score one for the kids.
Even naked.
For the kids. And score one for the kids.
Not going anywhere for a while?
What is the line?
And score one for the kids.
Grab a Snickers, because nothing handles your hunger better.
No! Hey, don't look at me.
Hungry? Why wait?
Why did IntelliChoice call the new Nissan Altima the best overall value in its class? They must have read the Consumer's Digest called it a Best Buy 4 times. And maybe they heard that Money Magazine called it one of the sweetest deals for $98. Or maybe they just drove it. See what they all liked with special 1.9% APR financing on any new Nissan Altima.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. By the new Nissan Altima. Nissan, life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. And by Snickers. Not going anywhere for a while? Grab a Snickers. Hungry? Why wait?
Well, Garnett is 3 of 8. Marbury 1 of 5, a combined 4 of 13 from the field in Game 5. Beneath, obviously, their regular season numbers, although each has contributed, in fairness, in other ways in this game.
In the third quarter, they've gotten a little bit out of sync offensively. They've forced some things. They've forced some shots. Turnovers have been a problem. But you see Garnett here with the script. Next possession, he's going to miss the turnaround jump shot. Marbury, penetration and turnover. Marbury with the air ball. And this is the playoff pressure that we talked about. With all that said and done, though, Bob, they're still trailing by only 1 point with 2:27 to go.
Each just 21 years old. Marbury played 1 year at Georgia Tech in his second year in the NBA. Garnett in his third year now at the University of Flip Saunders and Kevin McHale. Garnett has committed 7 turnovers, by the way, in this game. Here he is with the ball against Schrempf.
See, Reggie Jordan, they're not going to rotate to him. They'll let him shoot the basketball.
Porter over Ellis. Tough shot, short. Rebound, Jordan, blocked by Perkins. But he gets it back.
See, I like what Flip Saunders has done here. He's taken the ball out of Marbury's hand and he put it in Porter's hand.
And the officials now take the ball out of the Timberwolves' hands.
Another turnover. That's 6 in this quarter. 14 for the game. Now remember, Minnesota leads the league in fewest turnovers with 13. They already have 14 today.
And an offensive foul on Kevin Garnett is what gives it back to the Sonics. Payton into the lane. Knocked away cleanly, no foul. He took on 3 defenders and couldn't quite get it done. Wait a minute, there is a foul call. I stand corrected, and Payton stands at the free throw line. It's on Hammonds, his second.
Payton comes off the screen and roll, and he hesitates, which allows him to get down the middle in the teeth of the defense. He goes to the line and misses one.
So the Timberwolves, despite a very ragged third period, are within a basket. They led by 3 at the half. Garnett, a whistle before the shot. He walked.
Kevin Garnett trying to do a little bit too much now offensively. Just keep the game simple. He might be getting a little tired, and if so, will Flip Saunders give him a little rest? Now, the other night, when he rested Kevin Garnett, they had a 3-point lead in the third quarter. Seattle went on a big spurt in that quarter to go up 4. Let's watch what happens now with him resting. You see Flip Saunders over, just trying to calm him down a little bit.
Doug, we talked about when you're young like that, it's very difficult to control your emotions and your energy, but the Sonics understand how to do that.
Gary Payton's not having any problems controlling his energy right now. He has complete control of his team.
He's been through it so many times.
Marbury misses. Back tap to Porter. Jumper out of the corner, no good for Marbury. And Perkins has it. Knocked away by Marbury, and Seattle still has it. We go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. When Garnett came and sat down on the bench, Flip Saunders went over to him and told him, don't worry about it, sit down, take a break, and when you come back in, we're coming right back to you. Bob?
Thanks, Ahmad. Inside 40 seconds to play in this third quarter. Payton trying to draw the defense to him and then kick it out. It's Perkins for a three out of the corner that just beats the shot clock. No good. Racing back, Porter with Marbury. Terry Porter to the left hand. Doesn't get the roll. Jordan battling for the rebound. And a rebounding foul over the back. Flip Saunders was saying he had the ball.
See, I thought Marbury gave this ball up too quickly. Had he kept the ball in the middle of the floor, let him be the creator, he gave the ball to Porter too quickly. Porter missed a floater, and then Reggie Jordan over the back for the foul. So that's one of those plays where I thought Marbury might have done a better job had he just kept the basketball, made the play, or took it all the way himself.
What's happening right here, Doug, is Marbury and Garnett, as young players, their mind is fighting with their body. There's so much energy and emotion going through their body, and their mind is telling them, slow down, calm down, but it's hard for them to grasp control of their emotions right now.
McMillan's free throw was his first point. He played 13 minutes in Game 4 on Thursday night. It's not exactly a back-to-back game, but pretty close to it. Afternoon game after the night game with 1 day in between, and generally, his variety of injuries have not allowed him to play back-to-back games, but this is an elimination game, and he's giving it what he has to give. He's played in every game of the series. He's trying to guard Porter, and Dick Pavetta whistles play to a stop.
You've watched Porter bring the ball up the court the last 5-6 times. That's because they want to take Marbury out of the game right now because emotionally he's struggling.
Tomorrow on NBC, a new O.J. Simpson interview on Dateline, then an NBC original movie based on the true story of Carolyn McCarthy and how she brought her husband's killer to justice. The world premiere movie, The Long Island Incident, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, tomorrow on NBC. Porter connects on the first.
And what Marbury and Garnett must do right now is at the end of the quarter, they got to go to the bench and regroup and settle themselves down because there's a lot of time left and this is a long game.
And they're within 4. Sonics with less than 7 seconds. Payton pushes it up. A little contact, no foul, lunges for a three and hits it! What a punctuation for the third quarter. Not just any punctuation, but an exclamation point from Gary Payton.
As Ahmad alluded to earlier, this is what being a superstar and a leader is all about. You put the team on your back and you carry them. The pump fake gets 2 defenders off their feet, leans in, nails the three, stops and looks because he knows that's a big shot.
Payton with 21, 11 of them in the third quarter, which ends with the Sonics up by 7. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
Why did IntelliChoice call the new Nissan Altima the best overall value in its class? They must have read the Consumer's Digest called it a Best Buy 4 times. And maybe they heard that Money Magazine called it one of the sweetest deals for $98. Or maybe they just drove it. See what they all liked with special 1.9% APR financing on any new Nissan Altima.
Tonight, the world is full of light, with suns and moons all over the place. Tonight, let's just be friends. Tonight, there's only you tonight.
Pulls up in the forecourt, dribbling to the hoop, scoops it in. Down the way, put it up, make it!
Matthew Broderick, Natalie Merchant, Saturday Night Live, tonight.
It is a departure. It is an arrival. It is the all-new Chrysler Concorde LXI. Remarkable comfort, exhilarating performance, inspired styling. Chrysler Concorde, built on the belief that great cars appeal to a more passionate side. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Lease an all-new Chrysler Concorde LX for just $309 a month.
The new savory Caesar chicken sub at Subway. The tangy, cool taste of chicken Caesar salad in a big chicken sub. Zesty Parmesan cheese, secret Caesar seasoning, crunchy croutons, and 100% all-breast chicken. The savory Caesar chicken sub. Conquer one today. Only at Subway.
What's jerkbait? Find out when Care 11 opens the fishing dictionary tonight at 10. Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
At the beginning of the game, Doug Collins emphasized consistent guard play for the Sonics as a key. Well, in a 10-point turnaround in the third quarter, of Seattle's 27 points, 20 of them belong to Payton with 11 and Hawkins with 9. Here is Payton as we move to the final 12 minutes of regulation. Perkins trying to back in on Garnett, and maybe you heard Perkins' plaintive comment, what?
No, Garnett stuck his arm underneath Perkins to deflect the ball, and Perkins locked his arm underneath. And the official on the baseline caught it, called the offensive foul. That was the correct call.
Peeler playing with 4 fouls, back in the game as the fourth quarter begins. Marbury trying to take it into the lane. It squirts out of his hand. Ellis has it for Seattle. The LA Lakers watching with extreme interest. They lost 3 of 4 to Seattle this year and wouldn't have home floor. They swept 4 from Minnesota and would have the home floor if they face the Timberwolves in the next round. In fact, Del Harris's team was looking at the possibility with the Jazz down 2-1 and with Seattle down 2-1 that the first and second seeds could be ushered out of the playoffs and the path to the finals could look a lot clearer for the LA Lakers. But Utah rallied with a win at Houston. They'll play Game 5 at home tomorrow. Seattle did the same, winning Game 4 on the road at Minnesota, and they're leading Game 5 at home here in the fourth. So maybe the Lakers will have to travel the full route. Payton's shot is long, and Garnett has the rebound. Garnett from Peeler. Overshot it. It's tough Game 5 for Garnett, who has 9 turnovers next to his name on the stat sheet. Perkins inside, couldn't finish it, continues to battle, and finally it's the blue shirts who have it. And there's contact away from the ball as Kersey and Garnett were jostling each other. And the foul is on Jerome Kersey.
I think when you see the Seattle team today, you really see their philosophy. George Carlos said you got to make three-point shots as Garnett in the post gets pulled down by Kersey. But George Carlos said, I saw Houston win back-to-back championships shooting the three-point shot. And although we have not shot him well in this series, we're going to continue to do it. 5 for 7 here in the second half after 2 for 9 in the first half. They've turned it around with their three-point shooting.
Trying to cut into a 7-point lead, it's Garnett. And he still is luckless today on top of everything else. Might have gotten the roll on a different day or night, but this is not his Game 5. He hasn't scored in the second half. Mitchell, quick catch and shoot. And And Sam Mitchell temporarily quiets the crowd just a little bit.
Now, if you're Flip Saunders, I said to you, Flip, there's 9.5 minutes to go in the game. You're down 5 here. Would you take it? I'm sure he would say, absolutely. Give me a chance.
Peyton brings it back to 7. But, of course, in that hypothetical, you didn't tell him he was once up by 12.
Well, what Marbury needs to do right now, he needs to get the basketball and start penetrating again, get into the lane to try to free up his teammates for easy shots.
Before Garnett latches onto the pass from Marbury, there's a Seattle foul. 9:26 to play in regulation. It's Seattle by 7. Gary Payton with 23.
Knicks Heat, then Rockets Jazz, and Hornets Bulls Sunday on NBC.
McDonald's is going wild over the opening of Disney's Animal Kingdom, Disney's most adventurous theme park ever, and so will you. The adventure starts with the wild, tangy taste of our McRib sandwich. Juicy, tender, and smothered in sassy barbecue sauce. But hurry, the McRib will be gone before you know it.
Honey, it's for you.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
The 300 idea is the idea of a powerful, responsive, nimble automotive machine.
That first 300 series took the Grand National Stock Car Championships.
We are a company built on engineering mastery. 300 gives us an all-out engineering car. It has put real fire and spirit into the whole job we do.
44 years later, the soul lives on. The 99 Chrysler 300M, coming late May.
A revolution is in our destiny. A revolution not about countries or ideologies, but about knowledge and information networks that make computing more affordable. Where do we come in? We make the software that manages information that will enable anyone to sit at the seat of knowledge. Oracle, enabling the information age.
You're being signed by your favorite NBA team. You and your friends take a private jet to the All-Star game. You're playing horse with your pal Michael Jordan.
Nice shot.
Now your dreams can actually come true with the Gatorade NBA Dreams game. Just uncap a Gatorade and you could uncap your dreams. And who knows?
All right, try this.
Maybe you'll win that game of horse.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You don't have to live thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up. By Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. And by Oracle, enabling the information age.
George Karl's teams have won 60 or more 3 times in the last 6 years. Never fewer than 55 over the last 5 seasons. Look at the difference between the Bulls and the other teams who have played nearly as well as Chicago has in the regular season. Against the best competition, Chicago virtually maintains its pace, while the Jazz and the Sonics have fallen off. Coming up to 9 minutes to play in regulation. Way off with that three-point attempt. And into the hands of Kersey.
The threes have deserted Minnesota. 10 for 15 in the first half. They have not hit a single three. Peeler gets a technical foul.
He was arguing that his arm was hit on the release, and he should have been granted 3 free throws. Instead, the technical foul will be taken by Seattle.
But what has happened is the Sonics' pressure defensively has increased. The Timberwolves ran a pick and roll, and they strung that pick and roll all the way out to the half-court line, which forced Peeler to have to take a tough shot. He goes up for the shot. It's kind of tough to see if Dale Ellis got him on the elbow or not.
I would have to agree that he got hit on the elbow. The way he's been shooting the ball today, I don't think he would have missed it that badly had he not been hit on the elbow. I think the referees just missed that one.
Again, when you're the aggressor, though, all the breaks go your way.
Ellis converted the technical. Now they have 5 seconds to shoot. Payton has to force it, but that's the way it's going for him. He's got 25. Porter into the lane, on the run. It drops, and he's coming to the line. So the veteran trying to rally his team.
Now Porter's been in the playoffs, and he understands how to get to the foul line and slow the game down. You watch Payton, the ball gets away, the breaks, everything's going his way, turns around, falls right into the basket for him.
All-stars are made during the regular season. As Ahmad said, superstars are made come playoff time. Michael Jordan in Chicago, Karl Malone in Utah, Shaquille O'Neal's going to get his chance in Los Angeles, and Gary Payton in Seattle. To me, they're the 4 best players in the league right now. Their teams win. They are unquestionably the leaders and heart and soul of what those teams do.
Marbury trying to guard Payton. For the last time out, he looked at his coach, Flip Saunders, and said, "I'll take him," meaning Payton. Seattle gives it back on the travel. But the difference is that Marbury is a future star in this league. Payton is now at the peak of his powers. His time has arrived.
When you talk about Marbury, going through the experience that he's going through right now, this is the only way you can learn. You can only learn on the job. And unfortunately, you will have some bad days and some bad games.
It's happened for both Marbury and Garnett here in Game 5. It's Peeler on the run, and Peeler continues to pour him home.
Still a 5-point game.
Now what Gary Payton has to do right here as a point guard, now you got to try to get someone else involved in the game that can carry you down the stretch. I would look to go to Ben Baker right now in the post.
Baker and Garnett, who really got into it in the first half, and it's Garnett who's called, I'm sorry, it's Baker who's called for the foul. No, it is Garnett. A double foul. I was right all along. A double foul. So it's Seattle ball on the side.
When in trouble, post up Gary Payton or go to the deep screen roll.
Payton feeling it. Tough shot under any circumstances, but McMillan is there to scoop it up. Hawkins eyes the three. His foot was just on the line.
Now Hersey Hawkins gets the credit for the intangibles of Nate McMillan to dig out that loose ball and give his team a wide open shot. Watch now Nate McMillan. It's a loose ball. Who wants it? Nate McMillan comes up with it. He spots Hersey Hawkins, and he buries the open jump shot.
And it is a 2. His foot was just on the line. Seattle's lead is 7.
Here's an update on our top story. Police now confirm the Bud Ice Penguin has been captured. Authorities say it is now safe to serve Bud Ice. That's right, just bring it all out in the open there. Nothing to worry about, everything's fine. And now, back to the music. Doobie doobie doo.
Drink Bud Ice, but beware the penguins.
It is one of the most powerful warships, with satellite communications, radar and propulsion systems that are the most advanced in the world. But USS Mitcher cannot do a single thing without you. Because the most important part of USS Mitcher is her crew of over 250 sailors who every day embark on a journey of honor, of courage, and of commitment. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY. Let the journey begin.
It is grounded in the belief that for ideas to take flight, they must have wings. The all-new Chrysler Concorde LXI, with a 225 horsepower engine so advanced, it provides more power yet uses less fuel. Chrysler Concorde, built on the belief that great cars appeal to a more passionate side. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Lease an all-new Chrysler Concorde LX for just $309 a month.
Hoop It Up! The official 3-on-3 tournament of the NBA and NBC Sports is coming to a city near you. Men, women, and kids of all ages and playing ability can compete. Call 1-800-824-7529 for tour dates, cities, and entry information. Be a part of the ultimate traveling hoops festival. Call 1-800-824-7529.
Stephon Marbury just 1 of 7 from the floor. 7 of his 8 assists came in the first half. And this ties into a trend that has been in evidence all season long. When he shoots even reasonably well, just 40% or better, look at their record. When he's under 40%, when in effect he shoots them out of a game, they're 9-25.
What Gary Payton has learned, what Gary Payton has mastered, Stephon Marbury is learning. He's struggling with his shot, getting into the lane. Has to get his teammates involved, know when to insert himself in and out of the game. Gary Payton has mastered that. Stephon Marbury is learning that.
Just inside 7 minutes. Seattle by 7. Garnett still can't buy one. 3 of 11. Scoreless in the second half. 9 turnovers, but his coach, Flip Saunders, as Ahmad told you, said to him very directly, keep shooting, they'll fall. So far they haven't. Schrempf lost it. Marbury reached in, knocked it away to Porter. Marbury blows by Schrempf and banks it in.
You know, we keep talking about Seattle. Minnesota is still there. 6 minutes to go. It's a 5-point game. If Seattle blinks, Minnesota can still steal this game.
Contact with Marbury trying to guard Payton.
Marbury recognizing the mismatch, goes right around Schrempf. Schrempf reaches in, but he's strong enough to take it and finish it. The referee will let a lot of fouls go right now in the last 5 minutes of the game because they're going to make the players decide who's going to win and who's going to lose.
The foul was on Marbury. But as you look from courtside into Marbury's eyes, Baker gets it out to Hawkins. You can tell he's not intimidated. Hawkins is belted, and he'll come to the line. Marbury is definitely not getting the better of it against his opposite number, point guard Gary Payton today. But Marbury is a stone-cold player. He doesn't back away. He wants him now. He wants him next year. He wants him tomorrow if they play a game 6.
Well, that's what you love about Marbury and Garnett. They're competitors. They will compete. Despite if they're having a bad game or not shooting the ball well, you like their competitive spirit, their competitive nature. Not going to back down.
Flip Saunders has chosen to take Kevin Garnett out of the game. I think the young man has just played himself into exhaustion. And what he'd like to do is maybe buy 30 seconds, a couple possessions, and get him back in for the finish of this game. They cannot let this game slip away. If it gets into double figures, I don't think they can come back from that in the last 5.5 minutes.
You know, sometimes in a big game, Doug, in a game 5, you find yourself getting very winded because you're exerting so much emotion and energy.
Peeler was fouled. Hawkins now has 19 after the free throws. And the 3 3-pointers he fired in right at the start of the third quarter were essential in the turnaround for Seattle. Triple header tomorrow. Begins with showtime at noon Eastern. Anna, John, and Pete. Followed by Game 5. Knicks and Heat. Then Game 5 from Salt Lake City with the #1 seed, the Jazz, still not out of jeopardy. And Game 1 of the series between Charlotte and Chicago. We'll fly to Chicago right after this one in Seattle for Game 3 of the triple header tomorrow on NBC. Anthony Peeler cuts it to 5. And Peeler has scored 25. Baker into the lane. The basket is waved off. Foul before the release.
I would think now Minnesota's philosophy is going to be, Bob, if Baker gets the ball in the low post, it's almost going to be the Shaquille O'Neal philosophy right now in the last 5 minutes. He's going to have to make free throws. He was 1 for 8 in game 4, 1 for 2 today. So they'll put him to the line and they'll use all their fouls up at the end of this ball game.
Not over the limit yet. Baker, by the way, just 59% for the year before his difficulties here in this series.
It's very important that the Sonics establish another score going into these last minutes of the game because Payton has been carrying it low thus far.
Watch for Hersey Hawkins. He'll look to shoot the big shot.
Detlef Schrempf, tough shot. In and out. And he was fouled.
Detlef Schrempf is so good at reading the defender. He takes the ball low up under his arm, forcing the defender to foul. Watch as the double team comes. He'll split the defender and he'll extend the ball and take it low, which forces the defender to foul him.
It's a 6-point game as he hits the first. With a double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds.
Now what has to be going through Marbury's mind right now, being guarded by Hawkins, got to make sure that he establishes himself and penetrate and get into the lane.
Swatted away by Baker, but a Seattle foul.
Hawkins doesn't have the foot speed to keep up with Marbury. Marbury blows by him. Hawkins fouls him. Marbury's on the line. Must make these 2 free throws.
Not the first one.
When fatigue sets in, the first thing to go is your concentration. You must be able to sustain concentration right now.
The kid from Brooklyn makes 1 of 2. Schrempf from Payton. Gary has it back. 5 seconds to shoot. And a whistle as Baker receives the pass. 3-second violation called on the Sonics.
If I'm Marbury, I go right back to the same thing and attack. Put it on the floor and get to the basket.
But instead, Minnesota gives it back.
Interestingly now, Flip Saunders has gone to that wing screen roll, and we know that Seattle loves to trap you over on that baseline. Got to keep the ball in the middle of the floor. That's where all the good things happen for them in the first half. You got to stay off that sideline when you play the Sonics.
Again, Marbury stepped out of bounds.
Hawkins! Hersey Hawkins left alone, out beyond the arc, and Minnesota pays the price. 22 for Hawkins. And you're watching the NBA on NBC.
It is 180 degrees from expected. It is a leather-trimmed interior. And now, it ties as J.D. Power and Associates' most appealing minivan. The new Chrysler Town & Country LXI. Winner of the Automobile Magazine All-Star Award. Now available with $1,000 cashback or a very special low lease rate. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Mark the 50th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I, Harry Belafonte.
I, Alanis Morissette, reaffirm my Betty Bow Lord.
I, Michael Stipe, reaffirm my belief that all people have the right to be treated fairly.
Have the right
to be treated fairly with respect to race, nationality, gender, or religion.
I believe that no one should be imprisoned,
Tortured, executed,
or disappeared simply because of their beliefs. As a citizen of the world, I support the work of Amnesty International.
For identifying these abuses wherever they occur.
So join millions. Add your name to the list. Make your pledge to humanity.
Get up. Stand up.
Sign up.
Sign up.
Your right.
My right. Everyone's rights. Keep the light on human rights.
Well, as Doug pointed out, the balanced production from the backcourt, so important for the Sonics. This was game 4, when they managed to move the series back to Seattle by winning on the road. They combined for 48. And today, Payton and Hawkins have combined for 47, 25 for Gary, and 22 for Hersey.
The key to this series has been the balance of the backcourt. The 2 losses, Hersey Hawkins has been lost. Gary Payton has been terrific. In the 2 losses, 9.5 points on the average for Hawkins. The big 3 games that he's thrown together has really broken this open for the Sonics. We know Payton is going to be there, but they need Hersey Hawkins.
Wheeler's pass for Garnett is off his hands. And from the expression on Garnett's face, he may be just a bit discouraged now.
See, when you're fatigued, your concentration slips and the little things really start to bother you.
Schrempf trying for the reverse. And a Minnesota foul. It's on Keeler, and that's 5 for him.
You have Marbury stepping out of bounds. You have Garnett missing a little simple pass that he normally would catch. The fatigue has set in and concentration starts to slip, and you must fight through the fatigue and continue to concentrate.
But consider what Minnesota has done as they go down now by 10 with 3:22 left. No Tom Gugliotta the last 3 months. Both centers, Stanley Roberts and Cherokee Parks, injured. Within 5 points midway through the 4th quarter. Even with their big 2, Marbury and Garnett, not having typical games. Forcing the number 2 seed, a team that won 61, to a 5th game. Marbury spinning, surrounded by 2 defenders. And Hersey Hawkins upset with the call. He's nailed with the foul. Tonight on NBC, back-to-back all-new episodes of The Pretender. Then the profiler has to find the killer of a young beauty queen in a case ripped from the headlines. An all-new night of thrills beginning at 8, 7 Central on NBC tonight. Flip Saunders not too thrilled with what he just saw.
You know, Isaiah, you know what I'm thinking about right now is Marbury shooting these free throws. When I think of he and Kevin Garnett, sometimes the game has to break your heart before you realize how much you love it.
Without a doubt, and the only way you can learn is on the job. But I think Michael Williams not being here today to give Marbury a blow has really hurt him down the stretch. Michael Williams was a guy who could come in and give him 5, 7 minutes, and now the fatigue is starting to set in on Marbury.
Hawkins is short, but Perkins gathers it in. The tank is empty for Minnesota.
Chant, beat LA.
Seattle by 10. 2:43 left. The Wolves were at the door, but it appears the Sonics have turned them away. Flip Saunders trying to hold his team together here. A, it's not completely out of the question. They still have almost 3 minutes remaining. But B, he wants them to understand, no matter how this turns out, what they've accomplished this year. The highest win total in franchise history, even without Gugliotta for half the year. And a terrific performance here against a team that won 61 in the first round of the playoffs. Payton slices through, was too far underneath, and he got popped in the face on top of it. His layup hit the underside of the rim. That's what did it. Not that he was too far underneath, but that his head got swiveled around by the hand of Sam Mitchell.
See, I like what Gary Payton did, though. The game is in hand. You suck it up. The worst hurt you can put on Minnesota right now is to not to go wolf and tweed or go up and shove them, but to make the 2 free throws and eliminate them. That's the poise that you have to have when you've been in the heat of the playoffs, as Gary Payton has over the last few seasons.
And I think this Sonic team has a lot of respect for the Timberwolves because they forced them to go to 5 and they woke them up.
Mitchell's attempted 3 is short. Porter covers up the loose ball. Peeler is open. He hasn't missed many of those today.
I think that's their first 3 of the second half after 10 in the first half.
28 now for Peeler. He's the game's high man by a point over Payton. Inside 2 minutes. Sonics eating up the clock. 5 seconds to shoot. Schrempf is off with it. And Garnett reaching over Schrempf to tie him up. Detlef was trying to call a timeout. And now the officials confer. Schrempf was trying to get the timeout before Garnett could wrap him up.
Yeah, Dick Bavetta, watching it from the perimeter, came in and made the correct call. Bernie Fryer on the outside, looked in, Garnett tied him up before Schrempf could call timeout.
See, I like that you're not giving a timeout. To me, you have to have clear possession down there. I think sometimes the referees give possession of the timeout when it's not deserved. You have to have clear possession to where the other team cannot maybe force a turnover.
Minnesota has it. Marbury, 4-3. It's off. Perkins. Schrempf to the front court. Knocked away from behind. It's a 3-on-2 break. Porter was eyeing a 3. And instead they blow the advantage they had in transition, and now Porter misses on the drive. Sometimes you become obsessed with the idea of a 3 too early. They could have had a layup there. And now Minnesota has no choice but to foul.
See, Gary Payton comes running up to Detlef Schrempf, who made a careless play of the possession before. The defender ran in behind him, knocked the ball loose. Gary Payton runs up to him, saying, look, don't lose our concentration. We've got 1:07 here left. Make these 2 free throws. Let's finish the game off like champions.
The foul is Sam Mitchell's 4th. Back to a 10-point lead. Sam Perkins out. Detlef Schrempf is 6 of 6 from the line, all of them in the 4th quarter. Seattle won 3 of 4 during the regular season from Los Angeles, and the Lakers will be next. For Kevin Garnett, Stephon Marbury, and the rest of the Minnesota Timberwolves, a big step in the direction of becoming the type of team they hope to be. Of course, with the huge contract given to Garnett, you wonder if the money will be there to keep both Marbury and Gugliotta. If they can, they have the nucleus of a contending team. After the timeout, they set up the 3, and it's Porter who shoots it long. Mitchell follows with the hook.
I think Marbury and Garnett really has, Marbury and Gugliotta has to make a decision of what's really important to them. You know, some players come through this league and it's really important for them to win a championship. Some come through this league and it's really important for them to make as much money as they can. I think with Gugliotta and Marbury, they really need to decide that they have the foundation for a championship team. Now, do they play for the championship or do you go for the money?
Of course, Garnett got there first and got most of the money first. and it bounces home for Hawkins.
Seattle is now 12 for 12 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter. Another thing you look for come playoff time, when the games get close, your ability to make free throws at the end of the game, and they have done that today here in this fourth period.
You saw the list of Sonic players signed beyond this year. Their coach, George Karl, is not. And although they're on their way to advancing after a perilous first-round series, it's pretty much common knowledge that if they don't at least make it to the finals, he might not be back. We will be back after this from your local station. Misfiring on the attempted three, and it's saved in bounds by Seattle.
Well, now they know they have the experience. They've experienced that empty, sick feeling in the pit of their stomach. And now when they go home this summer, they'll have something to shoot for and something to play for that would add meaning to their basketball experience.
Payton missed 2 gimmies, but he can afford to smile, I guess. And now Payton is fouled. Payton is conferring with Nate McMillan, saying, I missed 2 layups. He was all by himself. There were 9 players on the other side of half court when he caught this pass. Hello? Now he falls down, gets back up, little jumper. No. He's going to get the 2 points maybe anyway out of this trip down the floor if he can hit the second free throw.
As a player, that's your worst nightmare. Even in grade school, you always dream about having a wide open layup, coming down and missing the easy bunny.
Shrimp once again, that third man, Mr. Consistency. They're night in and night out. Sometimes you forget about the numbers he puts up, but he's a perfect third man to have on this team.
And here are those numbers: 16 points, 11 rebounds. Porter down the lane. It won't drop for him. Last 10 seconds. Payton, who has scored 29, will dribble it out. Embrace Payton. Percy Hawkins also congratulated by the young Minnesota Stars. It seems the Sonics never take the easy route, but at least for now they can breathe a sigh of relief. But in a couple of days, the Lakers will be here. Game 1 of that series. 6 o'clock local time, 9 o'clock Eastern time, Monday night, the Lakers and the Sonics on TNT. Let's go to Ahmad.
All right, thanks, Bob. A wake-up series for you, Gary. 5 games. You got to have tremendous respect for this Timberwolves team as you move on in the series.
And Timberwolves